June Jones and Mike Sherman. Two of the top architects of today's college football offense. You play under these generals, and you learn how to play fast, furious, and have a lot of fun.
Play with confidence and put it in every time we get the ball.
We are going to surprise not only the Big 12, but the nation as well.
An old-fashioned Texas shootout, and it may come down to the final whistle. SMU at 9th-ranked Texas A&M. An action-packed special Sunday edition of College Football Saturday. Now.
Welcome to a special Sunday edition of Big 12 College Football Saturday, all presented by KFC. This evening, Conference USA brings in the SMU Mustangs to take on the 9th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies of the Big 12. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers alongside Joel Klatt, and welcome to College Station on a very warm and windy Sunday evening. Well, Joel, it's a matchup tonight of two teams with a lot of experience. Yeah. A&M brings back 10 of 11 offensively, including their starting quarterback Ryan Tannehill, their leading ground gainer Cyrus Gray from last season, and a big wide receiver in Jeff Fuller.
How about Ryan Tannehill? His emergence as a quarterback late last year for the Texas A&M Aggies is what ultimately catapulted them to that undefeated November. Some great wins right here at Kyle Field. This guy's electric on the outside as well. The former wide receiver is athletic and fast and can hurt a defense with his legs. He doesn't need to, though, because Cyrus Gray and Jeff Fuller, two of the best in the country. Cyrus Gray, 1,100 yards last season, including a streak of 7 straight 100-yard games to end the season. Jeff Fuller battling a bit of a hamstring right now. I don't think they're going to try to send him down the field, especially early. It is hot, like you said. You don't want to strain that hamstring early in this season. They'll be careful with Jeff Fuller, one of the best in the country.
Well, it's a similar situation offensively for SMU. They bring back all 5 starters on the offensive line. In fact, the most experienced offensive line in all of college football to protect the Mustangs' record-setting quarterback, Kyle Petrone.
How about Kyle Petrone? Not that experienced, only 5 games in high school due to a broken hand, but he has really matured. And in June Jones's run and shoot offense, this guy's got to be accurate down the field, 15 yards and plus. 3,800 yards a year ago, very strong arm, can be accurate, but has to hit those passes deep. On the outside, you're going to see Cole Beasley in the slot, about 1,000 yards catching a year ago. This is the type of guy that has to affect the safeties for Texas A&M in between the hashes in order for SMU to have success offensively. And then Zach Line, 1,400 yards, second only to Eric Dickerson in SMU histories in yards in one season. That's quite a 1-2 punch.
Well, a very windy night, as I mentioned, so special teams could have a lot to say, and the experiences, in particular in the kicking game, it belongs to Texas A&M. Well, it has been a great start to the college football weekend, and that should continue tonight in College Station as we get ready for what should be a wild shootout. Be right back to Kyle Field with the starting lineup.
Here in College Station, Texas, where Aggie fans are going wild. And hello, everyone. I'm Jim Knox right outside Kyle Field. We'll head in a moment, but this Aggie fan base are going absolutely nuts. They say Aggie Land is the toughest places to play a football game in. SMU will have to do with the crowd. It's also one of the best places to watch a football game. As far as this crowd, well, I tell you what, they jump-started their frenzy early this morning with midnight yell practice. Check it out. Tell you what, I talked to June Jones, SMU head coach. Their bench is right over here where the yellow leaders are, and he told me this by far will be the toughest place his team plays. It will be a tough one. SMU trying to handle this loud A&M crowd. Up next, it's Texas A&M against SMU. The kickoff right after this quick timeout.
This was a tradition for many years. Two old Southwest Conference teams getting together once again. They had gotten together every year since 1919 through 1995 as SMU and June Jones on the field. And here come the Aggies. And Jim Knox was right on target. There is nothing quite like the atmosphere of Kyle Field. And that's what June Jones has to deal with, as he told us earlier this week. They've been working with the crowd noise, but he figures there's going to be 3 or 4 at least false starts for his offense because of Kyle Field.
You cannot avoid it. There's some venues in this country that you cannot avoid the crowd noise. This is one of them. One of the best environments in all of college football. Mike Sherman brings in that even 19-19 record to Texas A&M at his 4th year being the head coach. This, Joel, his most talented team by far.
Well, we talked about the wind and the kicking game, and just a little toasty as well. 96 degrees. That's the temperature, not the heat index, of course. Humidity 27%, and the wind gusting, well, we just had it about 25, 26 miles an hour. And it's a swirling wind. You try to figure it out. So we are ready to go. 83,002. That's what capacity is. That's not counting revelry. There's a lot more in this ballpark.
There is a lot more in this ballpark. Some smattering of blue in the corners. SMU, the Dallas Metroplex coming on down here. This is beautiful.
Our official from Conference USA is Steve Barth, the referee. SMU is going to receive. In fact, A&M won the toss, deferred their option to the second half. So SMU ready to get the football. And the start of the college football season for the 9th-ranked A&M Aggies. And I talked about the experience, the kicking game. Well, they've got Randy Bullock, a senior from Klein, Texas. Chase Holber is the place kicker, and he's making his first career start. Kevin Pope going back deep, along with Kenneth Acker. So we're just about ready to go. They started young. What a tradition. Coming to Texas A&M. So this will tell us a lot about the win right away. With Randy Bullock, academic All-Big 12 last season, getting into it, and we are underway. And downwind it carries. Acker will stay in the end zone. And the potent offense of SMU takes the field with junior Kyle Patrone out of South Lake Carroll. And what a tradition in turning out quarterbacks. They've given us Chase Daniel, the former Missouri Tiger, now with the New Orleans Saints, also Greg McElroy. So they have put together a nice string of quarterbacks to the college ranks. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. And Patrone at their own 20-yard line. They won't run a fullback all that often. Occasionally put one of their big wide receivers who looks like a tight end in the backfield. But Patrone will start out of the shotgun with Zach Line. Spreads him out, and Line's got a seam over the right side, and he's got a first down. So a spin to the outside gives him 11. Got a confidence builder already. Even one snap means a lot coming into this ballpark. Our KFC starting lineups. Beecham, big guy, I guess.
Bell cow, the offensive line. Best O-lineman for the Mustangs in the back end. You already saw him. Zach Line, 1,494 yards, second only to Dickerson in SMU history. He's got to force Texas A&M to stay honest in terms of run defense here tonight.
158 career starts for the offensive line. So that is the most in all of college football. Line again making a miss. The former high school linebacker breaks into the secondary, close to another first down. His is a very interesting story. He was not recruited out of high school, Oxford, Michigan. So he's brought down to the secondary by Jonathan Stewart. But Bill Keenis, the former PR director, vice president of the Detroit Lions, sent a DVD and it paid off. We'll get back to that. It's a 3-4 set, and the 12th man, it's Caleb Russell. And all he has to do is replace Von Miller, the Butkus Award winner, on the outside.
Yeah, that's big shoes to fill. Coriel Judy, the best in the back end. Terrific corner, has his work cut out against the high-octane Mustangs tonight.
trips on the wide side of the field. They've yet to throw the football, which was their calling card last year. Padron in trouble and on his way down. He's ripped down, and the sack belongs to Jared Eddy. Tony Girardetti gets the first sack of the season, and this group had 36 last year.
Well, a lot of that due to Von Miller, obviously, the double teams that had to occur on the outside. But Jared Eddy, just a good motor in the middle of the offensive line. Just continues to move his feet, churn towards the quarterback, finds himself there, brings down Padron for the first sack, and ultimately puts SMU behind the chains. 3rd and 7, not a good spot for Padron and the SMU Mustangs.
So from second and less than a yard, as you mentioned, 3rd and long. They stay in the gun. He can run for it if he wants to. Instead, puts it up for grabs, and it's picked off. Coming up with the interception. The D-back on that side, still on his feet. And will he take it in? No, down to the 5-yard line for the Aggies. Stephen Campbell with the interception. So deflected by Frederick. He set it up, and Campbell gets the pick.
Terrence Frederick, one of the best corners in this conference, moves inside on the nickel down on 3rd down, covers the slot. What a terrific coverage on Darius Johnson. Allows Campbell to come over the top. The old tip drill turns into the offensive player. North and south, gets himself all the way down to the 6-yard lines. How about that? Starting your first possession of the year for the potent offense. Ryan Tannehill steps out at the 6-yard line.
The nightmare of your SMU. So Padron has it picked off on his first attempt. Cyrus Gray bouncing out. Jeff Fuller trying to give a block to him. And that D-back wanted a holding call as he gets it down inside the 5 to the 4, where he's met by Ryan Smith.
Padron has got to keep his mistakes to a minimum tonight. Too talented this Texas A&M Aggie ball club is, and they can score quickly. Very balanced, can run the football, and then obviously Ryan Tannehill so accurate through the air.
Kristen Michael joining Cyrus Gray in the backfield from the 4. It's Gray. Huge hole, he's in. Touchdown A&M. And check that. Kristen Michael, 33, not 32. On the 4-yard run and points off the turnover.
Kristen Michael broke his leg a year ago, midway through the season. Was out for the year. This is his first play back. How about the emotion from number 33? The junior from Beaumont putting the first touchdown on the board for A&M.
Bullock with the extra point. Took a long time, didn't it? 2 plays and 26 seconds later after the pick of that young man, Kyle Padron, off the deflection. It's Kristen Michael and the Aggies up by 7. The edition of Big 12 College Football Saturday presented by KFC Popcorn Chicken. Today tastes so good. Brought to you in part by Russell Athletic. We'll remind you that together we are. And by Chrysler, imported from Detroit. Warm and windy, College Station, Texas. Kyle Field in a 7-0 lead. So Gray and Michael in the backfield of that goal line situation. 2 guys that had the potential of going over 1,000 yards, and that has never ever happened in Aggie history.
And how about these guys are great friends too, competing against each other, yes, for touches, but also great friends. Cyrus Gray was the first one to the hospital last year after Kristen Michael has broken his leg and was out for the season. Just shows you what type of character Gray has, what great teammates Gray and Michael are on this Aggie team.
Randy Bullock ready to kick it away. Downwind once again. And sends it over to Acker's side, deep into the end zone. It'll stay right there. So SMU back again at their own 20-yard line. A couple of things going in, Joel. We talked about field position first of all. It had to be advantageous for the underdog SMU Mustangs, and they couldn't beat themselves. At the end of the night, they had to be on the plus side of the turnover ratio.
And sometimes that means punting the football. You know, a quarterback coach long ago once told me a punt is a good play in this game. June Jones knows it. Kyle Padron is going to have to start realizing that, especially in a hostile environment like here in Kyle Field. You eat it, you go ahead, punt the football away, let your defense live to play another day rather than starting their series at the 6-yard line.
Keenan Holman's in there as the third wide receiver, along with Beasley and Wilkerson. So down by 7. How do they respond to the adversity? Padron with a lot of time and didn't put it up for grabs. Still a +2 as opposed to a mistake or a sack. He's brought down by Stewart.
He's getting some time. Even the first sack of this ball game by Jared Eddy was a coverage sack. Coverage on the left side of the field. Looks like man-to-man, but Texas A&M is actually squatting with a free safety in the back middle of the field, allowing those underneath coverage defenders to be more aggressive, trying to take away the shorter routes. It paid dividends on the last play.
It'll be 2nd and 8. Showing the blitz. They bring an extra one, but it's picked up. And the bullet on the outside is brought in by Wilkerson, the senior from DeSoto, Texas. So they're short of the first down. He's a 3-year starter, a former high school quarterback. And he's dropped by Dustin Harris.
Dustin Harris, keep an eye on him tonight. Joel, he could play both ways.
Yes.
Mike Sherman telling us we got to get his speed on the field. He's a terrific corner. He plays in nickel situations, allowing Terrence Frederick to go in and cover the slot, which led to that interception. So Dustin Harris, a huge contributor here for the Aggies early already.
And I know it's early, but this is a key 3rd down. Field position wise, if they have to punt it into the wind. 3rd and 3. Padron can run for it. He'll throw for it, and he'll get it. And the battle continues. Beasley, the senior from Little Elm, Texas, who had 87 catches last year, is hit that time by Harris once again.
Not your prototype wide receiver. He's only 5'9", but he understands how to get open. Behind him, they're trying to run the dig route. He falls in the soft spot of the zone short, gives his numbers to the quarterback. Padron was able to step up into the pocket, dump the pass off, and move the chains. Good confidence builder for the passing game of SMU early.
So they convert on 3rd and 3. 5 minutes into the ball game, already a deficit for the Mustangs. Coming off the edge, pick up the blitz. Padron scrambling, doesn't get back to the line. It'll be the 2nd sack of the game. Extra pass rusher paid off again, shy of the 35 and a loss of a yard.
In nickel situations, like I said, Terrence Frederick is going to play the slot. That allows him to blitz. Here he is. He's going to go ahead and blitz. Stays on the outside. He knows the defense very well. He's a smart player that allows him to play in several different areas on the field. Blitz, play coverage. He's the one who tipped the pass earlier that led to the interception. A guy you love on your defense. Tim DeRuyter, the defensive coordinator, said he uses him everywhere.
Honorable mention all Big 12 last year. That was final season. Young man from Katy, Texas. Little delay action. Zach Line making the most of it. Takes a tackler for about 9. Needed 11. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
That's clearly been their bread and butter, at least today so far. The most success that they've had has been Zach Line. These 3 guys, Beasley, Line, and Padron, one of only 4 combinations in the entire country to have 1,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing, and 1,000 yards receiving, and then return. Another one of those 4, Texas A&M with Gray, Fuller, and Tannehill. Seeing some potent offenses here tonight at Kyle Field.
First game, will they be in sync, in rhythm? Those 2 offenses you're talking about. 3rd and short. But thrown out of the gun. Had an alley to run if he wanted to. Better lane to throw, and throws it over his intended target. It's picked off once again. The safety coming up with it, Trent Hunter, all the way across the midfield stripe to the 45. Another mistake by Padron. It sailed.
Similar again to the first interception, stepping up in the pocket, has some time, manipulates it well, has a receiver wide open and just overthrows it. So often, Joel, in the first game and on the road, your emotions can be getting the best of you as a quarterback. You must settle down, step through your drop, allow wide receivers to come into the areas that they need to and deliver the football. Too often when your heart rate is high, you don't finish the throw and you'll sail the ball high. He's got to settle down right now. 2 mistakes early.
Cyrus Gray, the single to the backfield. And it'll be Gray. Good running. Inside the 35, tough between the tackles, down to the 33. He's 5'10", 200 pounds. As you see Tannehill with our KFC starting lineups, and he's one of the few guys that can say he's thrown for better than 400 yards, and he's also caught passes for better than 200 yards.
Hey, when he was playing wide receiver, he was one of the most talented ones on the team.
He's a big guy at the wide receiver spot. Gray, a little bit too much dancing that time. And shut down right at the original line of scrimmage, the 33. But back to Tannehill. Met with him yesterday, 6'4", 225 pounds. His senior season from Big Spring, Texas. So here you have Tannehill at one wide receiver before, and also Fuller. Both guys 6'4", 2 1/4. Not bad. It'll be 2nd and 10. Out on the edge, Tannehill. Got the tight end, and he finds him. Inside the 20. It's Michael Lamoth. Little slip of drag over the middle.
Very easy on the outside. The rest of the starters for Texas A&M on offense brought to you by KFC. Jake Matthews, son of Hall of Famer Bruce Matthews. He's a terrific player, played a lot as a true freshman last year. And then Ryan Swope, got to pay attention to him in the slot in the middle of the field.
Big hole for Gray. Gets 7, almost 8. And back to the tackles you were just talking about. Jake Matthews, Luke Jokel. Both played last year as true freshmen, so
lots of experience.
Great days down the road for A&M.
Even though they're sophomores, lots of experience.
Read on that stop. But now moving the line. Running game is working. Gray waits. His patience paid off. And he's got a 1st and goal inside the 5. Sure pays off when you got a back that doesn't run up the back of his offensive lineman. Thompson in on that stop.
Yeah, patient and explosive is what the coaching staff said. But for SMU up front, they're going to have to do a lot of damage defensively with Taylor Thompson, Garrett Davis in the back end, outside linebacker, 9 sacks a year ago. And then Chris Banjo wearing number 23, great story. Safety has to be productive for them this year.
Wearing the number to honor Jerry Levias. Gray on his way. Is he there? Yes. Touchdown A&M. So Michael's got one, and so does Gray now. Back-to-back touchdowns, points off turnovers on short fields.
And easy touchdowns, like you said, short fields, getting it in plus territory. Cyrus Gray reaching for that yellow line. Did look like he ultimately broke the plane, but won't be shocked if they're going to take a look at this, and they are going to take a look at this. Looked like that second effort, Joel, after the contact, he leaned forward. There was no part of his body that was down. And that last lean, arching his back, he had the football up near his right shoulder. Hard to tell where his knee finally touches the ground. It's going to be hard to overturn that call, in my opinion.
If there's not conclusive evidence, is the knee down there? No.
See how he arches his back, keeps the legs off the ground? How about that run? How about that body control? The guy's laying all over him.
He is the leading returning rusher in the Big 12. He starts the evening with 7 consecutive 100-yard games, obviously from last season. But they have the luxury of not only Gray, but you mentioned it, Christian Michael. And it may be the first time in Aggie history they do have 2 1,000-yard rushers.
Unless they throw for 5,000 yards, because they've got the talent to do that. Mike Sherman, of course, former head coach of the Green Bay Packers, said that Cyrus Gray reminds him a lot of Amon Green from his Green Bay days. That's high praise for a young running back.
And he talked about the patience of Gray.
So key for a running back. You throw out all these intangibles talking about running backs, and they seem counterintuitive. You know, explosive, yet patient. Decisive, yes, yet patient. And yet all of those things make a great running back. Cyrus Gray has all of those things, allowing his blockers to work for him. Then when he finds a seam, boom, he goes.
At the review, ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
NFL type guy will play on Sundays, and now June Jones and the Mustangs find themselves in a hole that was created by their own mistakes.
They've only played this team once at Kyle Field since 1995. Lost that one 66-8 just a few years back. They don't want to revisit that, but it's starting out to be a nightmare. 14-0 early A&M off mistakes by SMU. On a perfect night for shorts and a golf shirt, we welcome you back to Kyle Field. 6:38 left in the opening 15 minutes of play, and already 14 on the board for the Aggies. Well, tonight's telecast on AFN, the Armed Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea, watching around the world. It is our pleasure to bring it to you in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, Japan, all over the world. Welcome, and thank you for everything you do to protect our freedom. So we are at Kyle Field, one of the great venues, and it should be here every opening college football season on opening weekend. That good. Bullock pulls it. Would have hit the sideline. Yep, out of bounds. And good field position, desperately needed by SMU.
They need some sort of momentum right now. Again, the world's wind swirling. Joel is behind him to start the game, and it's kind of switched directions. Now June Jones got to find something in this SMU offense.
Let's head down to Jim Knox. Knoxy.
Okay, Joel, I'll tell you what, Kyle Patron's got to stay out on the field with that SMU offense. Has to give this defense some rest. These guys are gassed right now. Torian Pittman, the big nose tackle, he got a shot to the head. He was asking for smelling salts. These guys are already gassed right now. They need some time on the bench to rest.
Well, I'd say that Patron is getting back out there, but he's 2 for 4 with 2 sacks. He's been picked off twice, so you see him with his helmet on next to June Jones, and they brought in J.J. McDermott, senior from Katy, who spent his first 2 years in New Mexico State. So he takes over at quarterback. So the shock factor. Now from their own 40, can they capitalize on the great field position? Zach Line could help him out. Maybe 4. Out to the 44. Just a straight power play behind his right guard.
Yeah, they've got to continue to utilize the run game, especially now with a more inexperienced quarterback in the game in J.J. McDermott. Texas A&M does not want to bring a safety down, and they want to keep their outside linebackers, Joel, out over the slot receivers, which is leaving almost no defenders in the middle to cover the run. Zach Line, 1,400 yards a year ago. Stick with what can succeed right now, which would be the run game and Zach Line.
The run worked early. 2 first downs early on their first possession with Zach Line running the football. Once they went up top, though, now slinging it out, it's complete to Beasley. Short game. Took a while. And maybe a little bit late as he was trying to decoy it downfield to the 46. Brought down by Jonathan Stewart.
Good zip on the ball from McDermott. SMU moves the pocket behind that experienced offensive line. And McDermott now with his feet wet. That first completion, I think always the biggest completion for a quarterback. Now he's got his feet wet, but it's 3rd down. And here come the Kyle Field faithful. Very loud here tonight. And the last pick for Patron, he could have run for the first down. It was 3rd and short. Beasley, the motion man. Bring the extra rusher, and wide open out of the edge, Darius Johnson. Big yardage for Johnson, and he steps out of bounds. He lost 10 to 15 yards with that mistake. Regional track champion for Conference USA, 4x100, 4x200. Experienced guy, very good in the back end. Breakdown in coverage from Texas A&M. It's zone defense. The corner runs off with the outside receiver, leaving a huge vacated area on the left side of the field. And McDermott doing the smart thing, taking what the defense gives you, ultimately moving the chains for SMU. Their first opportunity now in plus territory. Jim Knox was just talking about the humidity, the temperature, and good series. Zach Line, and the quarterback carried out the play with the fake as Line went the other way for a first down and a gain of about 12, 13 yards. Again, when Texas A&M in this 3-4 defense, not a lot of guys in the middle to stop that run from Zach Line. 1st and 10 line brought to you by Russell Athletic. He was finally pulled down by Garrick Williams, who was honorable mention all Big 12 the last 2 years. But a positive for SMU, starting the drive at their own 40 and now down to the 28 of A&M. They hang on to the football. Ton of time again, and wide of the intended target, and probably a break that it wasn't picked up by Darius Johnson with Jonathan Stewart right next to him. It's clear that the most dominant group that SMU has right now is their offensive line. They've been providing time for whichever quarterback is in, and they've been giving Zach Line all sorts of open areas. 5 rushes now for 46 yards on the day. Get back to that. The Goon Squad up front, 158 career starts, most in the country entering this season. Allow them to get their feet wet into this game. Get them off the line of scrimmage. Zach Line can run the football. That's what's been working for the Mustangs.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 28. They heard you. Big hole for Line. Will he take it in to the 10, to the 5? On his way. Yes, touchdown. SMU. It'll be reviewed, but for now it's a touchdown. He went by Stephen Campbell at the last second.
Josh Laribas, number 77, pulls around, seals the edge. Terrific block from Laribas, allowing the big hole for Line. And Line takes off to the goal line. The offensive line clearly the most dominant group for SMU right now.
Boy, it's under review.
Well, the Aggie defense, one of the better ones against the run in the Big 12 last year, but you couldn't tell early the way the holes are opening up for that experienced SMU offensive line. And when you're talking about, you saw Laribas pull, next to him, Beecham's a 4-year starter.
All of them, I feel like, are 4-year starters, Joel. Seniors across the board. That's what you can do as we take another look. Very close, hard to tell. This is going to be a much better angle.
And is it simultaneous?
Now the elbow and shoulder are down. It's hard to tell where the ball is. He's reaching, Joel, the ball up with that right arm.
But we can't tell from that angle. The ball could be nosing on the plane on the goal line, the plane to the end zone.
And again, is there enough to overturn this? Ruling on the field being a touchdown. That's the most important part of this review, is what the call actually was. That angle was tough to tell, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be 50-48 coming over today. Truly, like BYU or the Baylor TCU game.
Yes.
But I felt like it had the potential for maybe 43-41. We'll talk about that later too.
Well, how about the response from SMU going right down the field? Now, clearly, the kick out of bounds hurt Texas A&M. Gave field position to SMU. J.J. McDermott enters the game. And then June Jones stuck with the run game. You know, that's clearly what's been working early. 6 for 74 for Zach Line. Boy, I would take that until they are forced to stop it, because, Joel, they're going to have to put a safety down near the line of scrimmage, which is going to ultimately hurt their back end. June Jones knows that. That's why he's going to run the football here early until Texas A&M stops it.
Well, Zach Line was not recruited. He was a linebacker, somewhat of a tailback, but a linebacker too. And the DVD that was sent for the vice president of the Detroit Lions, Bill Kniss, he sent it, and he said, take a look at the kid. He hasn't been recruited, no Division I offers, but he's got a big motor. He can play. And half the snaps were linebacker, half were at tailback.
The runner's left arm was down before the ball penetrated the goal line. First and goal on the 1-yard line.
It looks like Zach Line will be back on the field, but to tag that story, when June Jones brought him out and he put him at linebacker, the defensive coaches said, you know what, we don't need him, we're going to redshirt him. And then June said, well, wait a minute. I'm going to use him then. If you're going to redshirt him, he's going to be on offense with me.
And this is what's so great about having a back, a featured back that's 230 pounds. The ball's on the 1-yard line, and you don't have to bring anybody else in for him. Your starter is on the field with the seniors up front. I'd be shocked if Zach Line doesn't get the football.
So it certainly was an opportunity that he capitalized on, and Bill Knies' son played high school football. The vice president of the Lions was Zach Line. So for that opportunity. So first and goal from the 1. And Line is in. Gets it this time. Touchdown. It's official. SMU. Big back. Looks like a linebacker.
Good moves at the line of scrimmage as well. A jump cut to get outside. You wouldn't normally think someone 230 could have that type of feet, but he does.
Barrel-chested, isn't he?
Big guy, but then bang, the sidestep to get outside. Watch how he baits him inside, jumps outside, and ultimately scores a touchdown. An easy play. Touchdown for SMU.
Extra point. Hover splits the uprights. This is the guy that joined the team from a classified ad 10 days ago. We'll talk about that as well. But J.J. McDermott in the spotlight right now, the backup quarterback, and he's led him on a 60-yard drive thanks to that guy, Zach Line. Game with 3:39 to play the first quarter. As SMU is on the board, and we have a chance to check out the Toyota playbook.
The formation for SMU is going to force Trent Hunter, the safety for Texas A&M, to start running across the field to match up on this side. That only leaves 3 defenders on that strong side or right side of the offensive line. And when you get hats on hats, the pulling guard Laribas, there's no one left. That's an easy play. Zach Line racing towards the end zone because June Jones knows how to manipulate the coverage with his formation. The 3 receivers to the left side of the formation, forcing Trent Hunter to run across. Great game plan there from SMU in the run game.
7-play, 60-yard drive. And Zach Line out on the field for special teams as well. So a big number already for Line against the defensive unit that led the Big 12 in run defense last season. It'll be Coriel Judy back deep along with Stephen Campbell. And the onside kick didn't make it. Didn't work. It never went the needed distance for June Jones. He's got a rookie kicker, Chase Hover. And he rushed it.
Kicked it into the back of his own foot.
Right. And they had A&M backpedaling.
After the momentum,
right,
too. I understand that you're the underdog, but at some point you got to let it play out. It's like the old adage in a golf tournament, you can't win it on Thursday, but you can lose it on Thursday. You can't win a game in the first quarter, but you can lose a game in the first quarter.
June Jones can't believe his bad luck because they were backpedaling. Yes. It would have worked had it gone the necessary 10. 2
interceptions and now a failed onside kick attempt. Gives the ball to Texas A&M 3 times in the first quarter in plus territory. They started to drive at the 6, inside their own 50, and now from the 31-yard line.
So all in SMU territory. A short field once again. Cyrus Gray didn't run himself out of the plays. He just slid down the line, got 6 to the 25.
There's the patience we were talking about from Cyrus Gray. Lines up in the fullback position. I love the versatility that Cyrus Gray gives you. Can line up in several different places. Kristen Michael, 33, back this year after the broken leg, is allowing some of that versatility as well.
Tempo. It's a tempo offense. They want to get a lot of snaps every game. Gray trying to bounce outside. Pretty good stiff arm for a first down. Strong. That's what that is. Strength of Cyrus Gray.
That's the epitome of what we were talking about, trying to describe him early. The patience to bounce the ball outside, and then the strength and explosiveness to get 5 yards and move the chains.
It's at the 20. Shift the big tight end Hicks.
Unbalanced formation.
Unbalanced short side. And they waggle it the other way. Diving attempt. Is it taken in cleanly? Yes. Swope's got his first catch of the new season. Ryan Swope, like Jeff Fuller with 72 to set a new A&M record last year, pulled it off in front of Ryan Smith.
Yeah, interesting formation, the tight end on this waggle side. Ryan Tannehill pushes his off shoulder to the throw spot very well. Good technique. Allows him to throw the ball accurately into the outside for Swope.
First and goal at the 5. And the fade, corner of the end zone, Fuller tangled up, and a flag. We talked about the strength, the size. He's working against the smaller Richard Crawford. .6'4", 225, Jeff Fuller.
Trying to take advantage of the one-on-one.
Pass interference, number 6. Ball will be placed on the 2-yard line, automatic first down.
Boy, that was tough.
Yeah, because
even for a quarterback, I mean, that's a tough call there.
The initial contact was created by Fuller.
Exactly, and he's trying to create some of that contact so that he can press off and get away. He's an experienced guy.
In the eye. It'll be Gray. He's in. Touchdown A&M. 3 of the shortest fields that the Aggies and Mike Sherman will ever see this season to start drives. So Cyrus Gray has his 2nd touchdown of the contest, their 3rd on the ground. And Joel mentioned it. They started at the SMU 6 after a turnover. The Mustangs 45, and this time after the failed onside kick at the Mustangs 31. 4 plays later, it's blocked up in the air, and there it goes the other way. Now the Mustangs take it the distance. Still on his feet. It's Davis. And finally, slowed down and put down. Ja'Garrett Davis tried to take it the other way for 2. So keep it at 20-7. Little fight in those Mustangs. See the spirit.
Everything helps.
Yeah,
Everything
the
helps.
spirit.
Mike Sherman is just livid. Number 77 on the offensive line, Shep Klink, gives way to Hunt, Margus Hunt from Estonia. Only been playing football for 2 years. That's his 11th career block. This team can block kicks, and then Ja'Garett Davis, the athletic outside linebacker, finally corrals it. He had 9 sacks a year ago. Tries to get back into the end zone. But how about Margus Hunt? Terrific story. Won a gold medal in the shot and discus at the 2006 World Junior Championships. The only person in history to do that. Those were in Beijing. Joins the football team, 11 career blocks. 7 of them came 2 years ago. That was second best in NCAA history. His first year of football. You can see why. Did you see the leverage he played with during that PAT? Getting under the pads of Shep Klink, the guard. That's what was getting under Mike Sherman's skin so much. Clearly that's been a problem in camp. A coach doesn't get that fired up unless it's a reoccurring problem. Shep Klink allowing Margus Hunt to his inside shoulder. They're talking with the officials right now. It helps to be 6'8", though. Hunt is 6'8", 295. It reminds me of the tight end in your game yesterday for UCLA. 6'8", Fourier. Joseph Fourier from UCLA had a huge day. He's 6'8". Margus Hunt's 6'8". Can't teach height. Can't teach length. That's what all the coaches like to say. Coach speak. Can't teach length. So now it'll be Randy Bullock kicking it away. Last time he put him at the 40. He gave SMU the short field. I don't think they'll hook this one, even if it's short, and it will be. And it's going to be picked up by Acker at the 15. He's got a huge lane up the middle. It closes down. He helps him out. And he's driven back at the 29. But still not bad. As the Mustangs have it at their own 29, but the mistakes costly early. SMU hasn't really done a horrible job defensively, but their offense has put them in a bad position. Padron forcing the ball down the field twice already. One tipped, one overthrown, led to short fields for Texas A&M, and then the onside kick. I didn't think they needed to do that. An inexperienced kicker. He answered an ad in the school paper. He walks on the football team. He's his first college action, kicks it into the back of his foot, gives them another short field. That's what led to the 3 A&M scores. McDermott, who came on the field for that touchdown drive, stays in. He's the backup quarterback. It's a little pick play for Beastman with a bubble screen. And he's got maybe 3 up to the 32. Good coverage. Gang tackling on the wideout. So Patron stays on the sideline for the time being. Their junior record setter. Set a Mustang passing record with better than 3,800 yards last year. First and 10 line, we remind you, is brought to you by Russell Athletic. 13-point lead for A&M. Now can the Mustangs stop beating themselves. They'll throw it on first down. It's 2nd and 7. Does Line get a touch here? Zach Line burrowing his way across the 35 to the 36, short by 3. Wholesale changes coming in for Texas A&M now. It is hot. Can't get winded now on 3rd down. Bring in some smaller individuals. How about the tonnage coming off the field there? Those are the run stoppers. Well, and 1st and 2nd down players. They've had hamstring problems. A&M, just like 90 miles away, the Houston Texans of the NFL have had hamstring problems because of the heat. The searing heat they have had in Texas the last, well, all summer, but in particular the last 4 weeks. McDermott needs a big completion here on 3rd down. And Willie put it up. Maybe a delay. No, it'll go in the air. Taking his time, and he's got a wide open receiver. It's complete for Johnson. 1st down. Took a while to come across. And they move the chains. Pulled it off. Single coverage back there.
And on an island, it was Stephen Campbell, the safety.
It starts with protection and then the understanding from an inexperienced quarterback how to manipulate the pocket, slide to his left. Johnson just continues to run. A nice job by the wide receiver, allowing himself the opportunity to get into the open field. McDermott does a great job, again, sliding that pocket. Terrific throw on the money to Johnson. You just wish you could keep him on his feet so he could get yards after the catch.
And that almost sailed for an incompletion. So they needed 3, got 26. Line finds a little seam. Boy, he reads it well. He's got good yardage on first down. Gain of 7. All right. Russell Athletic game summary. We talked about the turnovers. 3 possessions to start the game for A&M, and all 3 starting in SMU territory. So that'll do it for our opening 15 minutes of play. The difference, the mistakes that coughed up football. Texas A&M has taken advantage every time. Points off mistakes, points off turnovers. The difference in our game as we welcome you back to Texas A&M. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox at Kyle Field. Our Russell Athletic game summary now.
Texas A&M just taking advantage of the short field early. The interception from Kyle Padron puts the ball at the 6-yard line. Then another mistake, another interception leads to a short touchdown run from Cyrus Gray. Cyrus Gray for a 3rd touchdown for the Aggies, really chewing up some yards on the ground as Texas A&M, but SMU is moving the football. They do have a chance. They made a quarterback change right now. J.J. McDermott in the ball game, led them down to a touchdown a series ago, and now they're moving the football. A nice completion to Darius Johnson to put them in position. Now they're on the 31 and plus territory headed in.
So time of possession, it means absolutely nothing in this game so far. 11 minutes and 20 seconds SMU has had it compared to 3:40 for A&M. But the mistakes. They've outgained them 131 yards to 79 as well. They've been able to move the football, but they're killing themselves with the turnovers. 2nd and 3 on the first snap of the second quarter. Long play for Line to get to. More inside the tackles than going wide like that for the most part. And he gets 2. Sean Porter brings him down.
Yeah, that north and south running game has been successful, trying to stretch it out. I think Texas A&M's a little too fast for that. Trying to run horizontally. Very difficult. This is number 63.
The center.
McJunkin. Senior, 300 pounds.
A 4-year starter again, Joel. We'll take a timeout as they look at Blake McJunkin, the senior from Plano. Honorable mention, All-Conference USA last year. Hate to see the pain on his face. Stay with us. We'll cross our fingers.
Coors Light says don't get flagged for breaking the law. It's a cold, hard fact. 21 means 21. So keep yourself and your friends in the game.
Home of the 12th man, Kyle Field. Good news, Blake McJunkin, the starting center for the Mustangs of SMU, on his own power over there. Made it off the field. So now the second team center, Bryce Tennyson, takes over with the second team quarterback.
Yeah, that's a huge issue right there because at least these guys are familiar. Remember, J.J. McDermott is in the game for Kyle Padron at the quarterback position. Now the backup center. These guys all fall camp long have worked together, so they will be used to what's going to go on in the center quarterback exchange.
We think. 3rd, less than a yard.
In theory.
Yes. Out of the gun. Look out. In trouble as McDermott adjusts well and gets the first down to the big wide receiver, as big as that sometimes looks like a tight end for them in the backfield, Bradley Haynes. What an adjustment by McDermott. Jim Knox.
All right, Joe, right behind me, Blake McJunkin. They're working on his right ankle. He's going to be okay. You know, this guy gained 40 pounds the last 2 years. He's a big boy. They're going to just retape it right now, and he'll get back out there, guys. He's fine.
A big boy? He's a large
fella.
It'll be 1st and 10.
That's
McDermott
tough, though,
showed poise.
Yeah, he really did on that last boot, right in the face of pressure, completing that ball, moving the chains, huge 3rd down conversion, keeping this drive alive.
From the 27. Going for the bundle, wide open, touchdown, Cole Beasley. No, Keenan Holman instead. Both in the neighborhood. Holman the deep man, the sophomore from Beaumont, brand new ball game.
wide open. Does not get easier than this. Texas A&M gets caught in the blitz. The corner bites on the short route. Holman, easy pitch and catch from J.J. McDermott. And how about the backup quarterback? 2 touchdowns on his only 2 drives after entering the game for Kyle Padron.
Chase over in for the point after. So a 6-point game now. Will that missed extra point that was blocked by their block specialist, Marcus Hunt, pay dividends down the road? It's tight at College Station. This Sunday night edition of Big 12 College Football Saturday, all brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, game's most refreshing beer. By Fresh Creamy Has Avocados, nothing else will do. And by Allstate, dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox back on a muggy, sultry night in Texas. Right now the story is J.J. McDermott. He was 4 for 4 on that last drive for 58 yards with a touchdown toss to Keenan Holman. It was a 7-play, 71-yard drive. And what a story. The backup quarterback comes in the last 2 possessions and leads them down the field for a 60-yard drive and also a 71-yard drive.
What he's done better than Kyle Padron is manipulate the pocket just like Padron did, but then stay balanced enough to throw accurately down the field.
It'll be Coriel Judy taking the kick at the 5. Laying up the middle close, he's in a hurry as he's dropped on special teams play by Jeremy Gray. So now, this is unusual territory. Don't forget for A&M, they have not started on their side of the 50. In fact, they've had some short fields. The 31 of SMU as well as the 6.
Yeah, they've played in plus territory the entire day. Now Ryan Tannehill, for the first time this season, runs the Aggies onto the field from a traditional spot. They're going to start from the 24-yard line.
It'll be Cyrus Gray in the backfield. Bunch formation on the wide side. Gray going that way. And weaving his way with a flag. Looks like it's coming back. That was a good throw by the back judge. He takes it for a first down to the 43. But that was deep in the secondary, and it was thrown all the way up towards the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 25 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Wide receiver Ryan Swope downfield.
From the slot position, they were in a bunch set. Close to the 5 linemen. Back judge sees Ryan Swope get a hold of a jersey, negates that nice run, and now the 1st and 20 situation. The holding earlier, that false start, boy, 1st and 20, you got to avoid that.
It's all the way back to the 15. Here comes Tannehill, and he wants a middle screen. Gray with a good grab, but dropped and loses the football, but they're going to say he is down. Outstanding open field play for the Mustangs by Taylor Reed, their middle linebacker, the junior from Beaumont. Honorable mention all conference last year. He led Conference USA in tackles. He was 7th best in the nation.
A good angle there. Looks like that ground caused that ball to come loose, so we'll let him play here. Now Texas A&M with a 2nd and 15 situation.
Back at the 19-yard line. Tannehill not out of the gun, traditional eye look. Ton of time. Man, what a grab. Pulled in by Wachiku, the junior from Allen, who had 36 last year, and he had to go parallel to get it. A wide throw by Tannehill.
And he's going to have a big year because Jeff Fuller and Ryan Swope are going to get lots of attention on the other side of the field. Wachiku has to be able to win one-on-one situations for the Aggies.
Yeah, the quarterback got lit up at the end of that play. It'll be 3rd and short. Tannehill on the short drop. Here comes he from the backside, and incomplete. Off the fingertips of Cyrus Gray, but I went back to the 2nd down completion, and Tannehill paid after he released it.
This is the out route to Wachiku, just gets hammered. That's Taylor Reed, 145 tackles. Good play on the screen pass the play before. Ultimately, it was complete, and then Texas A&M is unable to convert. First punt of the game coming up.
Back deep, it's going to be the wide receiver, Cole Beasley. So the first punt for A&M, and Ryan Epperson back inside about his own 20. Pretty good at one into the wind. Man, taken in cleanly by Beasley on the run. It's a good field position for SMU once again, and they look for their first lead of the new season when we come back. Welcome back to Kyle Field in College Station. We get ready for another great college football Saturday. Next Saturday, in fact, Joel, you and I are going to be at Ames, Iowa State, Iowa, Virginia Tech, East Carolina to Fano, Nevada, Oregon. We'll wrap it up with SMU at home, Conference USA play against UTEP. So a busy college football Saturday next Saturday, and it all starts with our pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific in high definition. It'll be at the 28. As the Mustangs get it after the punt. No points, all off turnovers. SMU mistakes. Now McDermott stays in their third series at quarterback. And a ton of time from his offensive line, and a good grab going up. Cole Beasley pulling it down. Second team All-Conference USA with 87 grabs last year. They've got big-time receivers, and they've got sprinters.
And Texas A&M's got to find a way to pressure McDermott, because these guys in the back end clearly are finding themselves some zones, some seams to run in. McDermott is being accurate with the football, as accurate as he can be in this win. A&M's going to have to dial up some blitzes, win some one-on-one pass rush situations. They've got to disrupt the timing of the SMU offense.
Set it up with 2 to each side and spread the field for Zach Line. Like the formation, the result, a gain of 12 and a first down to the 43 of A&M. Brought down in the secondary by Trent Hunter.
There's not enough defenders in the box. That's only 5 defenders for Texas A&M. Allowing the outside linebacker to run up the field, all the offensive lineman has to do is chip on the joker backer or outside linebacker and go up to the middle linebacker. You got hats for hats in the run game, and here we go. SMU driving again.
And you said joker backer. That's their outside backer. That is Caleb Russell, wearing number 12 as the 12th man, and replacing Von Middle. Inside give, Zach Line. He scrambles for about 3. Well, a lot of people wondered about the focus of A&M with the distractions and everything that's happened, and the announcement that they're going to be leaving the Big 12 Conference at the end of the year. Everybody asked Mike Sherman. Mike Sherman's focus is on, well, 3 letters. SMU. Not 3 letters and an acronym for another conference, SEC. He only cares about the team on the opposite side of the field.
It's got to be. He's got seniors on this team. This is their opportunity to leave a legacy at Texas A&M, ranked in the top 10 for the first time since 1997. You got to win now, not next year, right now.
Yeah, he can't concern himself with anything down the road. Looking one way, and again, a breakdown on the coverage and a poor throw for Beasley. Otherwise, another big play for McDermott.
McDermott let his feet get outside of himself. He starts to hop around on the outside. You see the pocket start to slide, and then the hopping. Joel, his back foot has got to step underneath him, and he's got to finish his throw. It's the same thing that happened to Kyle Padrone earlier, but Texas A&M is getting carved up in the secondary.
What about the confusion of Texas A&M's backside?
They're trying to play bracket defense, which is not necessarily man, and it's not necessarily zone. That's confusing, and right now the experienced secondary for Texas A&M is getting taken advantage of.
3rd and 8, barely get the play off. Line won't get to the first down. So it worked early on those drives, spreading them out and sending Line off to the right side. He's brought down by Sean Porter.
We're talking about it right now. June Jones.
Does he want to gamble this early?
He's going to run his punting unit onto the field. That's a good decision. Try to pin that Texas A&M offense back. He was thinking about it, but again, Texas A&M hasn't stopped SMU. It's the overthrown pass by McDermott. It's the 2 interceptions by Padrone. That's what's killed SMU, because when they're efficient, they're able to get it done.
It'll be going back deep. Kendrick McNeil. And on a delay by design, an extra 5 yards the other way for the punter, Matt Stone.
Delay on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
We were just talking about the way they've been able to move the football. First of all, it's 2-1 in yards. Basically 2-1 for June Jones and SMU, trailing by 6. And Zach Line has over 100 yards on 13 carries. So they're doing what they want to do, but making mistakes along the way.
Miscues, mistakes.
So Kendrick McNeil waits for the punt back inside the 10. And he'll go down. Good coverage downfield by the Mustangs. And on his back, it was the outside backer, Big Ben Hughes. So A&M deep in their own territory. Momentum has certainly shifted at Kyle Field. Yeah, at one point it looked like it was going to be a blowout for Texas A&M. Nothing doing. SMU was battled back. We remind you, well, this Thursday the NFL season starts. So create your fantasy football team today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Play against friends, or you can compete against other Fox Sports users. It's free. It's easy to play. So sign up right now. foxsports.com/fantasy and get ready for the NFL kickoff this coming Thursday night. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, and Jim Knox down on the sideline. J.J. McDermott has taken over the last 3 series at quarterback after Kyle Patrone, the regular starter last year, who threw for close to 4,000, was picked off on the first 2 series. It was the shock factor by June Jones potentially at the beginning, but then there was success from McDermott.
Yeah, now we can't take them out. They've marched up and down the field. Over 200 yards total offense so far.
It's a 6-point game. And now A&M starting in their worst field position inside their own 13. Sling it out to Swope. Gets a nice block by the wide receiver over on that side of the field, Wachiku. And close to a first down. Wideout made the play.
In order to throw the bubble screens, or what I would call the bazooka, to the inside receiver, he's got to get a great block from the outside receiver. That's got to be selfless play. And Wachiku, number 7, gets the corner on the ground, allows Swope the edge, gets to the corner, and gets 9 yards.
It's 2nd and 1. Single in a tight formation, and there is a block by Jeff Fuller through Swope. It had to be. That was a real bang play.
Yeah, heads up by Jeff Fuller, because the guy guarding him comes off early. He can't move, and he's got to go inside and end up getting the block, allowing Swope to get outside. Again, selfless play from the outside receivers for the Aggies here.
First down from the 30. And Gray cut off the pass, but it takes more than 1, doesn't it? He was hit by the outside linebacker, Cameron Rogers, but he just bounced off that backer as we head downstairs to Jim Knox. Knoxy.
All right, Joel, right behind me, number 19, Michael Lamotte, out of the game. The A&M tight end position just got a lot thinner out of the game due to a concussion. And looking down at this Aggie bench, the defense, tell you what, the faces on the big guys, they need a big high-energy play, something to get them back in the game. The energy is now down on the Aggie sideline. They need a big play out there.
And you bring up a good point, because the Aggies are up on the board, but down right now because the momentum is turned around. It's Swope. And now he's going underneath. The high percentage throws, that's good for a first down.
It's not only high percentage, but it's what SMU is giving. Quarterbacks who force the football down the field end up getting burned. We saw that with Padron early. Tannehill now relaxing. He's calm. He's into this game. He's got his feet wet, and he's just taking what SMU is giving him. He's a game manager at this point.
On 1st and 10. Gray spins again. Boy, another 9 for Cyrus Gray. The workaholic, and he's perfect kind of setup for a back. Low to the ground, tough, solid up top. Physical running back. You'd like to have him behind you, wouldn't you?
Love to have him behind me. My goodness.
1st and 10 line brought to you by Russell Athletic. And then they've got Michael behind him. Christian Michael was about 215, 220. Real similar style. Tannehill. Nice little bubble screen again. Yeah. Getting extra out of it is Kendrick McNeil on his first reception of the season. You saw him with number 46 on the punt return. He's got to put that on because Coriel Judy also wears number 5, and he's out there at the same time. So it's a different jersey when he's on specials.
And again, a nice block on the outside. Outside receivers getting it done on the bubble screen.
That time, Nate Askew on the field. The sophomore from San Antonio. Gray again. short yardage, but still gets close to 5 on a play that doesn't look like it goes for much. I think every coach will take 4 or 5 on first down.
Absolutely, and that was due to the patience from Cyrus Gray. A lot of running backs would run out there. Their motors would get going too fast. They just run themselves into a tackle. He waited for a little seam, then gets north and south, and is able to get the 4 or 5 yards. Now it's 2nd and 5.
Drive started back inside their own 13. So a time-consuming drive as Gray breaks 4 tackles at the line of scrimmage. He lunges for a couple of extra inside the 30. Down to the 28 in the arms of the cornerback, Kenneth Acker, the sophomore from Portland.
Good cutback from Cyrus Gray, starting it on the left side, sees the little seam, cuts it all the way back to the right. All day to throw for Ryan Tannehill. Swope breaks off his route, goes to the back end of the end zone, puts his hand up, and exactly what you're not supposed to do as a quarterback, throw across your body. He does it, gets away with it, touchdown Aggies.
Bullock in for the point after. This time the big guy Hunt couldn't get up there to block it. So it's now a 13-point lead. He looked like he wanted his primary on the outside on a double move.
Yeah, he wanted the top receiver. He's trying to run a slant and go, and Swope's just coming and trying to settle in the middle of the field. As soon as Chris Banjo, the safety number 23, looks to the left and takes his eyes off of Ryan Swope, the receiver, Swope felt it. Great presence in the middle of the field and immediately took off towards the end zone, raises his hand. That's an experienced player for you, for the Aggies, a junior from Austin, Texas, 200 pounds. Great hands, understands the offense. That's a perfect example of understanding Ryan Tannehill, your quarterback, and being on the same page.
We spent time yesterday with Tannehill as he talked about that Austin Westlake High School product, Ryan Swope.
Swope is our inside receiver, slot receiver. We like to get the ball in his hands quick. You know, he's a guy that can really catch a short one and turn it up and make it into a huge play. He'll catch a bubble screen or, you know, just a quick bubble throw and get 10 yards out, and that's all we want out of him. He's also a guy that can go over the middle. You know, he's got good speed, knows how to work the middle, work the linebackers, and get over the top of them, and use the middle of the field.
Well, a very methodical drive engineered by Tannehill, and something you said at the beginning of the drive, he's taking what they're giving him. And it seemed like that offense settled down on that drive.
Yeah, as a quarterback, that's what you got to do. Manipulate the pocket, put your team in the best chance to score points as you possibly can.
Well, they bring it out. Acker into the end zone will stay right there. So SMU is going to have it down by 13. 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. That was an 87-yard drive.
Yeah, big answer drive because the momentum had clearly swung to SMU after J.J. McDermott entered the game, number 15, the backup quarterback for June Jones and the Mustangs. They've got to play more efficient football, SMU, because they have not been stopped. They've stopped themselves. They've not been stopped by Texas A&M. Wide open wide receivers in the back end for McDermott all day to throw. And every time they've handed off to Zach Line, they've had great opportunities for big chunks of yards in the middle of the A&M defense.
Tannehill was 5 of 6 on that drive. He had 63 of the 87 yards. The rest belonging to Cyrus Gray. Now, McDermott was 4 and 4 and 4 for 4 on their last touchdown drive. Tries to put it all together once again. Pocket holds up, but he's not going to stay up. Gerard Eddy on the sack. Tony Gerard Eddy's a senior from DeSoto, and the DeSoto Eagles, DeSoto High School, has been very good with 3 starters for Texas A&M.
Coverage sack, just like the first one for Gerard Eddy. Got to have a good motor in order to continue to get to the quarterback there. Now a long down situation. June Jones, surprised he's not running the ball on first down. They've had so much success, Joel, running the football that puts you in great schedule opportunities to use the rest of your playbook at 2nd and short. Now 2nd and 15.
Zach Line has already 100 yards in this game. He gets it on the delay. Little jump cut, but not much available. Boy, he battled. He got it back to, it's going to be 3rd and 12, a gain of about 4. So they tried to spread the defense. Pope stayed there on the hit.
Yeah, and they've had real good success. Speaking of SMU, with the 3 wide receivers look, or the trips wide receivers to the wide side. That would be to your bottom of your screen. They are going to send out 3 wide receivers to the bottom of your screen. They've had great success finding the corner.
Let's see if they confuse the secondary of A&M once again with that formation you're talking about. Nope. McDermott hit from beyond. Coming in, and it was a blind side hit. It was Sean Porter first. He was the one who slowed him down, the junior from Church, Texas.
This is exactly what a defense has to do. You can't cover everybody forever, so you got to get to the quarterback, disrupt the timing of the offense, and Sean Porter is able to get there. He gets some buddies in maroon jerseys, and A&M's defense shows up for the first time tonight. That's a big stop after a statement drive of their offense going all the way down the field and finally getting into the end zone. The Aggies showing some strong pass rush against the Mustangs. 4th sack of the night for a group that had 36 last year, but as you mentioned, double figures for Von Miller. And it's off the helmet of the Mustangs. It should be A&M football. It looked like it went right off the back, or at least the helmet potentially, of the first one down there for SMU. He's pleading his case right now, Connor Preston. But from way up here, about 18 stories high. Did look like it hit the helmet.
Yeah, it looked like it went off his noggin.
Yeah.
Ruling on the field. His first touching was with White.
That'll work. The guy's in white.
Yeah, here's a replay. McNeil is back. The ball definitely touches SMU first. Good call by the officials. Very good call by the officials.
Just grazed the top of his helmet. So now the Aggies will have it 1st and 10. Good field position again. Their own 48. And they can take a lot of starch out of SMU headed into the locker room with 3:21 to play in the half if they get points out of this.
You see the chess game being played. The running game was starting to be effective. The outside linebackers start walking out towards the slot receivers. They're able to throw the bubble screen. Now the running game even more successful.
It's Christian Michael as they try to rip the ball out of his hands. You saw our buddy Kevin Frazier and old friend Marcus Allen coming up with the Geico halftime show. We'll head back to Southern California and getting a little testy. I mentioned these are old Southwestern Conference foes. They have not gotten together for a while, but that doesn't mean anything. They're only separated by about a 2.5–3 hour drive. And a lot of them have played each other in high school football in Texas.
For their entire lives.
It's a gain of about 3, 2nd and 7. Underneath, Jeff Fuller. Huge receiver. He's playing Sundays. Tonight is a Sunday night, and you'll look for him on Sundays in the future as well.
No question. Good timing route. Jeff Fuller and Ryan Tannehill clearly on the same page. That's when it pays that your quarterback has played the position, speaking of wide receiver before, understands the timing of the route and when to throw the football.
Crawford on the coverage. Plenty of time, especially when the clock stopping every time they pick the first down. Low throw. How about that scoop by Swope? Not too shabby. He worked against Ryan Smith, the safety, over the middle.
How about the calmness in the pocket? It was collapsing around Ryan Tannehill, and he stays there and allows his wide receiver the opportunity to find the open space in the defense. Doesn't deliver a great ball, but Swope goes down and gets it.
It's going to be reviewed. The way he curled
is
up
under
with
review.
They want to see if he maintained possession once he went down. But boy, what hands by Ryan Swope.
This will be a great look here. Tannehill. This is into the wind. Starts to die a bit. Boy, that sure looks like a catch. Now, it's hard to tell with his body in front of the ball from that camera angle. What a beautiful shot from the boys with the Exmo camera.
Swope, along with Jeff Fuller, both broke Rod Bernstein's long record here for catches in a single season. Both had 72 last year. Mentioned Steve Barth heads our Conference USA officials tonight. So windy, warm night. Game time temperature. It started 90 minutes ago at about 95, 96 degrees. The wind was 25 miles an hour. As we head back downstairs to Jim Knox. Latest Knoxy.
Okay, Joe, I talked to Jeff Fuller, the Aggie wide receiver, before the game. He said he's not 100% due to that tweaked hamstring he did at camp. If you look at his hamstring, his left hamstring, he has some pink tape. It's kinesio tape. He told me that's what sprinters put on their tendons. He says about a 75%.
Ruling on the field.
Right.
It's confirmed.
It is confirmed on the field. 75% he is healthy. Right now he's been targeted 3 times.
Is that hamstring going to be tweeted later tonight?
Oh, I'm sure it will.
27-14. A 13-point game, and now A&M.
He's their most talented player, Jeff. I mean,
he's big time.
Sunday's written all over him. Probably top 15, maybe even top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
They'll give it to Gray. Nice breaks. Actually, Christian Michael. Either one. But the way he stopped and started again.
I like the answer from this Aggie offense. You know, they had the easy touchdowns early, and then they found themselves not playing very efficiently, and they've come back after SMU stole the momentum, and two very good drives. This one inside the 15-yard line.
Gain of 7. Michael again, and they blow it open right up the middle. He lost the football on his way down. They'll say he was already down. It will be first and goal at about the 1. So what a tag team match. Cyrus Gray, 5'10", a little over 200 pounds. Christian Michael in there now, 5'11", 220 pounds.
Christian Michael was well on his way to 1,000 yards last season when he broke his leg, allowed the opportunity for Cyrus Gray. Ball clearly hit the ground there on trying to reach out for the goal line. Now inside the 5. They've been able to have their way with SMU inside the 5, just running the football. A touchdown by Michael and 2 by Cyrus Gray already in this ball game.
So in the eye, first and goal. It's Gray. He lunges, he's got it. Touchdown A&M. So Michael extends the lead, and as we mentioned, and you talked about it, he missed the last 6 with the injury last year, and he finished the season at close to 700 yards to begin with. So they would have had 2 1,000-yard rushers last year. The combination, even with the injury to Christian Michael, 1,750 yards. Boy, that's blocked again. And will it stay in bounds? Yes, it will. Now the opportunity to bring it back. Not much there, though. Richard Crawford. And who is it? 12th career block of Marcus Hunt.
Same guy, 6'8".
Can you double him? Can you triple him?
Terrific leverage. Look how he gets skinny and gets himself all the way in. That's it. He blocked that with his head.
Right into the grill.
He was so far into the line of scrimmage, he blocked that with his head. That's when it pays to be 6'8".
6'8", 300-pound junior from Estonia.
That's as poor a job on PAT protection as I've seen in a long time. I got to say, now this guy is clearly one of the best at what he does. 12 career blocks. That's an SMU record. But my goodness, you've got to be physical at the point of attack, even on a PAT. That's not just a free point. That's being proven out tonight by Marcus Hunt.
A bull rush up the middle. Usually your center on snaps for extras, specials, is not the largest guy in the world.
Exactly. He's a specialist. He's a long snapper. What I love from Hunt is that he got skinny. You know, he kind of dips his shoulder. You'll see him dip his shoulder. Do you see him dip his left shoulder? And gets real skinny, slides in between the 2 Aggie defenders, and then gets nice and big and tall. He is 6'8". Blocked it with his grill. Unbelievable. Great technique.
Derek Thompson waits back at the goal line. Longwell gets into it. And A&M with a big lead once again now. Thompson's going to bring it out, the wide receiver, his first touch. And he's belted crossing the 20. Put down at the Mustangs' 22-yard line. So with a 33-14 lead and a minute to play as we get ready to join Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen back at our Geico halftime studios. What's coming up at the break? Well, a lot of upsets yesterday.
Yeah, some great games as well.
South Bend in particular.
Wow.
And then comebacks. I mean, bizarre comebacks. Ask the Auburn Tigers all about that.
Inside of 2.5 minutes, Auburn staves off defeat against Utah State.
War Eagle. So Kevin and Marcus will have it. They're 60 seconds away. Ton of time for McDermott. Just a 3-man rush, and Beasley will take it out of bounds. Save a timeout, stop the clock with 30 at the 33-yard line with 53 seconds left. So timeouts on the board for SMU. An opportunity for points, but they can't afford another mistake.
No, can't afford another mistake, but this is plenty of time. Even 53 seconds is plenty of time because of the clock stopping on first down. They used the boundary very well, stopping the clock that way. A lot of their pass routes and their route tree where the wide receivers end up at the end of their routes are on the boundary, so that's going to pay off for them in this situation inside of a minute.
And they can use the middle of the field, Joel. They've got all 3 of their timeouts left. Play clock winding down. Now Zach Line, they'll be using a timeout after this play. It's down after a gain of 2. And they should stop the clock right away. And
now they're calling a play. June Jones is calling a play. He's trying to get his team up at the line of scrimmage now inside of 40 seconds.
You can't carry him over to the second half.
No, you can't.
Thomas in on the stop. Going to be second and long. And it's wide and short. Whether he wanted Beasley or the other man, Wilkerson down the field.
A lot of time came off the clock after that run. I'm surprised that they didn't use the timeout. Now only 23 seconds left.
So they drew within 6 at 20-14. And Mike Sherman's squad has come back with the last 13 points. It could be 35-14, but Marcus Hunt has blocked 2 extra points. For the final 23 seconds, the first half of the season for SMU and A&M. Underneath, and there's the disaster they're trying to avoid, and it almost occurred once again on a ball that went right through the hands of the wide receiver. She's trying to get it to Thompson.
Redshirt freshman took his eyes off it too soon. SMU is going to have to punt it away and take those 3 timeouts into the locker room.
McNeil will go back and wait at the 30. Make sure you don't kick it down the middle of your June Jones. Matt Stone, junior from New Orleans, in to punt it away. Good high. And the Aggies trying to stay away from it. So 7 seconds left in an interesting first half. Mistakes by SMU. Then they battled back and looked like they were going to take the lead. Only down by 6 with the ball in good field position. But Mike Sherman's squad certainly responded.
They sure did. Offensively, they did a fantastic job of responding. It started with the run game. Really opened some things up on the outside. Then we saw the bubble screens to Swope, and then we saw the ball go down the field, and some excellent passes by Ryan Tannehill, including one to Swope over the middle of the field, which set up that last touchdown to make it 33-14.
Well, they didn't gamble in regaining their advantage. They played the underneath game. They took the short stuff. They'll take a knee here, and they'll go to the locker room in their home opener, and they're 23-2 over the last 25 home openers, with a comfortable 19-point cushion. So at the break, 33-14 is our halftime score. Let's head downstairs, join Jim Knox once again. Jim.
Thank you, Joel. Coach, you got to be pleased with your defense. They capitalized on 2 big turnovers and also holding pass-happy SMU to 115 yards through the air.
Yeah, the turnovers were good, but we're not tackling with a lick. Zach Line is running at will on us, and we got to figure that out. We got to wrap up better. We definitely have to stop the run. We're not doing a very good job of that.
Yeah, Zach Line close to 100 yards right now. What adjustments do you make at halftime?
Well, it's really what we did was brought some pressures and we missed some tackles, and we need to settle down, play base defense, wrap up better.
All right, thank you, Coach. Joe?
Thank you, Jim. Kind of like Mike Sherman. We didn't tackle worth a lick. What you see is what you get.
He knows that the head coach is never happy. Never happy.
I like it. 33-14, our halftime score at Kyle Field. When we come back, we are headed to our Coors Light studio with Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen in just a moment. 19-point ball game at the break as we welcome you back to Aggie Land. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, and downstairs we go to Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, thank you, Joel. Just got through talking to June Jones, SMU head coach. He said he told his team at halftime, we got to play this in the second half like it's 0-0. He says they need 3 or 4 takeaways. He also told me that Kyle Padron will be sitting on the bench here in the second half. Just didn't get the job done. McDermott will get the start here in the second half as well, guys.
All right, thank you, Jim. Well, the wind has died down. It was 26, 27 miles an hour. So that is key for the kicking game. For the special teams, it's down to about 10 to 12 miles an hour. So it's dropped a little bit. Still very warm as you look. And the total numbers pretty close. Yep. Offensively in yardage. The mistakes, so the turnovers both led to touchdowns. And Joel also the onside kick that went about 6 inches.
Yeah, I mean, you could basically put that as the turnover as well. The sacks, A&M finally getting some pressure to SMU late in that second half. Time of possession, though, that's a big factor, especially early in the season in a hot environment. But SMU going to stay with that quarterback switch. Kyle Padron started the game, ineffective, 2 picks, 2 for 4 with those 2 picks, set up the first touchdown for Texas A&M. Insert J.J. McDermott. This guy's played very well so far for SMU, giving them a chance to go down the field, put some points on the board, but A&M has just been too much offensively. That run game, Cyrus Gray, Kristen Michael, been very effective for the Aggies.
Loftus will kick it away. It'll be Coriel Judy and Stephen Campbell back deep for the Aggies, and we are underway in the second 30 minutes. Judy back at about 5-6 into the end zone. Will stay right there. So Texas A&M with the football to start the second half at their own 20-yard line.
Texas A&M, Ryan Tannehill, 11 of 13, 141 yards, very efficient, taking what the defense gives. Had that 1 touchdown to Swope. Cyrus Gray, though, he's been the horse for Texas A&M, 15 for 76, 2 touchdowns. I really love his patience. Every single time you look like SMU has covered up a run, they're fitting in their gaps, they're doing everything they need to do. He waits, finds a seam, bang, gets 4 or 5. Cyrus Gray is a former high school quarterback. He's also out of DeSoto High School. We talked about the way they have helped the Aggies. That's a lateral pass. And a good kick out block once again by Wachiku for Ryan Swope. Gives him a few yards, a little bump, a little chip, and a gain of about 7. Not much stopping A&M in the first half. Had the 1 drive ending a punt, and then obviously later in the half had another drive into the punt. But the 5 touchdowns early, I mean, they didn't have to go anywhere. They were plus territory early for those 3 touchdowns. Very short. A 6-yard drive, 45 and 31-yard drives on their first 3 series of the game. It's Gray, and he should have enough for the first down. Mike Sherman was talking about Gray, and a former high school quarterback that's smart. Yeah. He knows the game so well from that perspective. And it has taken him some time to mature as a running back. It takes a lot of kids time to get themselves going in college football. It's a different game, especially in this true pro style offense, the West Coast offense that Mike Sherman runs for Texas A&M. Good penetration. Man. Into the backfield, Victor Jones, a strong side backer, a junior from Richland, Texas. And he was there as soon as Cyrus Gray got the handoff. Every time SMU has had some success, it's been because they get guys into the backfield of Texas A&M. There, Reed in the backfield. Victor Jones also doing a nice job in the front from his outside linebacker position. So now 2nd and long after the loss of a yard. Tannehill looking one way, and he's got Jeff Fuller. He used his man underneath. Swope was a real good decoy, and then he found the separation with Fuller. We've seen that outside bubble screen several times now, blocked by Fuller and Wachiku. Then they're going to fake that bubble screen to Swope from the slot position. See the pump of the shoulders, and then bang, Fuller sneaks behind for an easy completion. It's a first down. A little counter action now, and available on the outside, uncovered, a breakdown in coverage. With the action in the backfield, doing a good job, good deception. First down to the 41. He had a wide open Wachiku in the middle of the field. I mean, wide open. Nobody's covering him. He decides to take that short route, but that was 6 points if Tannehill goes deep. There's a reason Swope caught 72 last year. Fuller all tangled up. Uncatchable, out of bounds, because there was contact with Crawford on the near sideline. Pace picking up for Texas A&M. Fuller had an opportunity there deep, but like you said, tangled up. Well, Tannehill threw that right before he got tangled up. You had favorite targets when you were throwing balls at Colorado. Absolutely. You'd have guys come back and say, you know, I was down the seam and I was open for a touchdown. Well, what? And then you stutter a little. There was a rule in my huddle. No one tells me that they're open. It'll be 2nd and long, 2nd and 10.
And Wachiku, an underclassman, he went to the senior. And breaking into the secondary is Gray. Touchdown saving tackle into the secondary made by Chris Banjo, a free safety. But first and goal. Impressive start to the second half for Cyrus Gray.
And the offensive line. The power running game from the offensive line, running behind big Jake Matthews. 305 pounds. Again, the biggest offensive line in A&M history, wearing down the smaller defensive line of SMU right now. Starting to open up some big holes for the running backs.
They're trying to bust it wide open right now on the first possession of the second half. It started back at their own 20. Little late is Michael on the field. Flag on the play. Just a little late into the entry of the contest.
Illegal motion. Number 33 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's going to be interesting. Does that come from?
That was a coaching mistake.
Right, I was going to say the play call.
Well, you either take a timeout or just run the play with 10 guys on the field. You don't run a guy out there that late into the play clock. Just keep him on the sideline, or like I said, call a timeout. You have the option to call a timeout from the sideline, but clearly nothing good was going to happen running Christian Michael out there that late.
So a little bit of a smile, embarrassed smile on his face. Bouncing back is Gray after the 5-yard mark off on first and goal. He'll take it inside the 7. We actually haven't had that many mistakes in this game for a first game.
Yeah, outside of Padron early.
Well, I'm talking penalty flags and false starts.
Yeah, the cleanliness of this game has been there. They've played fairly efficiently.
Onside kick.
Had the botched onside kick.
Had to go back to that.
But again, you're talking about the mental errors, the penalties, and you're right. It has been a clean game for week 1.
Second and goal. Swope the motion man. Seal on that side. They can get it. Gray loses it, but it goes right to Jeff Fuller. Talk about everything going your way. Fuller catches it from Gray.
Not only is there a Texas A&M Aggie right there to corral the ball after Gray gets popped and it fumbles, but it's Jeff Fuller, one of the best wide receivers in the entire country, and he's 6'4", by the way.
Taylor Reed put a helmet on the football. Pops straight up into the air.
Good defensive play for SMU there.
Third and goal from the 2. Power formation. And batted down. He wanted to go to the goal line as he was looking for his tight end Nehemiah Hicks. And it'll be a field goal try coming up. Batted down by Davis.
Yeah, Fuller was frustrated. He was headed to the back pylon. The running back has got to get this block cut down the defensive end. You can't wait for it. You saw the running back, Cyrus Gray, wait for the defender to get to him. You got to go chop him down.
Field goal try up and perfect by Randy Bullock. A short one at that. So 3 on the board on a drive that stalled inside the 5. 36-14 A&M. This Sunday night edition of Big 12 College Football Saturday, all brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Also by Dr. Pepper, giving away over $1 million in tuition. Go to drpepper.com for all the details. And by Buick. See real stories of human achievement on the Buick Human Highlight Reel at ncaa.com/Buick. Now, this is one of the great venues you'll ever go to. If you love college football, to me, this is on your bucket list.
Absolutely.
You've got to go to Kyle Field at least once to watch a game. They're so loyal, so faithful, carry so much, and are so considerate to everybody in this ballpark. Pretty amazing place.
As a player, one of the great places to play a football game, without a doubt.
Deep kick. We'll have SMU at their own 20-yard line. So a treat for us to open the college football season on a Sunday night, as that's fun to watch when Bullock gets that bump from one of the assistants as he booms it through the end zone. Well, J.J. McDermott came off the bench and missed a couple that could have gone big. But for the most part, he was a pick-me-up.
Yeah, he was efficient for SMU. 8 for 12. I liked what he did in terms of coming in and calming down the offense. Made the throws that were necessary to move the ball down the field. But Zach Line He's been their workhorse. When he is going well on first down, that's when SMU is having success. Spread him out, 3 wide receivers, you're going to see in your screen, and then you hand it to Zach Line and try to attack the middle of the Aggie defense. That's what's worked for SMU on first down.
Out of the gun. Line joins into the backfield on first down. And battles for 1, maybe 2. Let's remind everybody that the starting center, Blake McJunkin, a 4-year starter, a senior from Plano, is out of the game. It continues to be Bryce Tennyson. So the second-team quarterback working with the second-team center. First half possessions for SMU.
Yeah, Padron, those first 2 interceptions. Then McDermott comes in, a couple of quick touchdowns. They were moving the ball, had the punt, and then a poor series at the end of the half, trying to drive it down inside of a minute. Ended in a punt as well. But they need to try to get back to what's successful. How about the Aggie defense bowing their neck a little bit against the run? We did not see that in the first half.
Well, Mike Sherman told us at the end of the first half, he said that Jim Knox didn't tackle worth a lick in the first half. Doing a better job of slowing him down there. Jonathan Stewart cleaned it up. The inside backer after he was slowed down in the backfield.
And base defense, getting back to base defense. I was talking in the first half about the adjustments Texas A&M was making and the blitzes that they were running themselves out of run defense lanes. Now in base defense, much harder to run the football. SMU is going to try to put this game and this third down on the back of McDermott if A&M continues to run base defense.
3rd and 10 on the opening series of the second half for the Mustangs. Pressure, a little shovel pitch screen, like the call. Line breaks the tackle and gets the first down. That was creative. Very creative. We all have seen shovel passes before, not the shovel screen with the offensive line out in front. Nice pickup by yourself. Man, Jude Jones, we should expect it. Yeah, exactly. Very creative offense in the run and shoot. McDermott, though, that could have just been improvising by McDermott. A regular screen that he's got to just pitch over to Zach Line. Smart play either way, it worked. And they needed it. The last 16 points of this game have been scored by A&M. SMU had come back and made it 20-14. Delay slows down Zach Line in the backfield. And give credit. Russell will get the call for the stop, but he was belted in the backfield. 12th man wearing the number 12 jersey, so coveted for Texas A&M. They had a fan voting contest in the spring game, the maroon and white game, in which Caleb Russell was the winner. That's why he's the 12th man in this season opener against SMU. Former walk-on trying to fill the shoes of the great Von Miller, Buckets Award winner from last year. And it's a coincidence that he is in the starting lineup. He didn't get it because he was named 12th man. Right. He won the job. Now in a double move, great throw that time by McDermott to Terrence Wilkerson. Just between the safety and the cornerback. Terrence Frederick, the corner, tries to fall off the route, and Trent Hunter was unable to get over to the sideline. This is all the way across the field. That is an absolute strike from McDermott, just over the fingertips of Frederick. That's a great throw. You're not going to see better than that in college football. The backup quarterback across the field, that's hash to sideline. Pretty good juice. Very good. It's down to the 38. Drive alive and well now for SMU. Can they make a game of it? Their first possession of the second half. McDermott working in the pocket and off the fingertips and almost intercepted by Terrence Frederick. Well, the man who just caught it, Wilkerson, tried a valiant attempt there, but he almost popped it for the tip drill. Wilkerson just not quite high enough on his jump. The 5'10" receiver could have used a couple of inches, and that's what allowed Frederick to come in at the end. But I loved in the pocket what McDermott was doing. Did you see him buy time, step to the left in order to get the ball down the field? That's a mature move from a backup. Pretty good adjustment. Yes. From the 38, 2nd and 10. Line 2-3, down to the 35. We remind you, the place kicker is brand new. Just came in 10 days ago. If they want to try a field goal. Now they are downwind. It's been a swirling wind, but for the most part, moving in their direction with the wind at their back. Sean Porter in on that stop. The outside backer.
June Jones would like to get to the 30-yard line in order to try that field goal attempt. Need to get to the 28 for a first down.
There's the kicker we're talking about, Chase Hover, the sophomore from Plano. His dad saw the ad in the Dallas Morning News. June Jones put an ad, but they were looking for a place kicker. Well, he had been at Blinn, wiped out a knee problem, a former wide receiver, and now dedicated himself as they're going, and it's in and out of the hands for Wilkerson. Incomplete, so will they stay on the field and go for it on 4th down?
June Jones looking for the penalty.
Yeah,
they're looking for pass interference.
There was contact.
Coriel Judy, who's the cornerback on the near side against Wilkerson. June's going to go for it. 4th and 8. 36-yard line. They need a touchdown. It's imperative that they have 6 points on the end of this drive. Huge play in this game. J.J. McDermott needs to convert.
Now over 83,000 on their feet. The noise factor at Kyle Field. Hit as he releases it and almost intercepted. It was taken away from Trent Hunter by one of his teammates. It looked like Stephen Campbell got a piece of it.
June Jones frustrated with his offensive line. The quarterback, J.J. McDermott, took a shot. That's why the ball fluttered on him.
He never had a chance.
You know, the communication for the offensive linemen, not very good. You see 3 offensive linemen go for 2 defensive linemen of Texas A&M, leaving a blitzer open, and McDermott paid the price. Just got hammered before he could really get anything on that throw. That's why it fluttered out there for the A&M secondary.
So now with a 22-point lead and 6:41 to play in the 3rd. Aggies get it back after a successful drive that got 3 on their first series. Stutter step action, but a holding call coming up. You'd have to believe where it was thrown by the umpire. Cameron Rogers making the stop.
Holding. Number 61 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, picking it up is their center Patrick Lewis, the junior from LaPlace, Louisiana. This is the largest offensive line in the history of Texas A&M. Across the board, they average 310 pounds. So some serious beef, and they can move. Now they have 2 1,000-yard rushers this season. No pressure at all. The big one, Jeff Fuller rather, gets the 10 back. Didn't like the way he was taken down, and unfortunately, there's a Mustang down on the ground. His father, a great Aggie and a defensive back with the 49ers for many years, but Taylor Reed is down.
Terrific inside linebacker, 145 tackles a year ago.
We'll come right back with the Aggies in control. They're looking at Taylor Reed, the middle linebacker, and the young man that was 7th best in the nation last year in stops per game. And hopefully he'll be okay. He made it over on his own. Obviously an upper body over to the left side, almost like it may have been a stinger that we're not going to speculate, but he went a little bit numb on the left side, then got back up. So concerned, but good to see him over there. We're joined now by the athletic director. We're going to have a conversation in just a moment as the Aggies put it back into play with Steve Orsini, the AD for the Mustangs of SMU. Right now a 36-14 lead inside of 6 to play in the 3rd. The Aggies get it 2nd and long at their own 36. Matchup tonight, Mustangs Conference USA. Big 12 Texas A&M Aggies. Cyrus Gray, boy, doesn't quit on any play, does he? An extra 3, keeping the wheels spinning. He gets 6. Steve, thank you for joining us first of all. And while we were away, we were talking about the way step by step it's gotten better since you hired June Jones.
He's made all the difference in the world. He's a great coach and a great person, and has surely provided us with a great foundation to build our program back up to what it used to be.
Yeah, and as Tannehill finds Fuller underneath, He's got the first down on 3rd and short. There's still, and I spent some time with June yesterday at your team's hotel. There's still an aura about when you say SMU. It's one of the most beautiful old campuses in the country. There's still something real special about SMU in downtown Dallas.
We think so too. There's so many attributes of SMU that we love to sell: the city, the school, the campus, and now a football program on the rise.
You guys are putting $3 million into facilities right now, the football stadium, locker room, meeting rooms. Investment into your athletic programs clearly has to be an initiative that you take on. How have you guys been able to get that done?
Just with the excitement. You know, we have a great core of fans, and they're excited to bring back this program. 25 years it's been, and they're ready.
Talking to Steve Orsini, the athletic director for the Mustangs of SMU. Tannehill after the short game. A draw all the way from Cyrus Gray. He's into the secondary, spins for another first down. And you've been pretty vocal recently about maybe SMU eventually getting back to an automatic qualifying status.
Exactly. We're taking this opportunity in this unstable landscape right now to kind of educate the lost generation of fans. 25 years is a long time. Talking in a minute.
Well, we can keep it up because we have great memories. Dickerson and the Pony Express with our friend Craig James.
You bet. In fact, he's in the box right now with us and really supporting the program. And you know, we feel that this is a great opportunity to show what we have and our interest to regaining that top tier conference play like we did in the old Southwest Conference.
Not just football either. You're one of the few schools in the country to have a former football coach of the year and basketball coach of the year.
That's right, and we just hired the current national coach of the year in men's golf. So we really have a great stable of coaches, great facilities, and a great school in a great city. We feel we can build it back to a top 25 program in everything we do.
Down the middle, the tight end's available. Touchdown, Hudson Prelow. We should have brought you up here for offensive purposes for SMU.
Prelow right down the middle of the field. Gets past the linebacker, Kevin Pope, who's trying to catch up the entire time. Pope was responsible for that deep third. You could tell how wide the safety was. And as soon as Prelow beat him over the top, that's an easy touchdown for the Aggies.
Steve, we appreciate your time. I'm glad you brought up golf. U.S. Amateur Champion included.
That's right.
And what a run SMU has had in golf. Continued success.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Steve Orsini, Athletic Director at SMU. It's the Aggies, though, on top big. Once again, a very complete drive by the Aggies of Texas A&M, and they've got to be excited that they got an extra point that wasn't blocked by the big guy up front, Marcus Hunt.
Very true, but the run game opening up the pass game for Texas A&M. The linebackers have to play closer to the line of scrimmage. It allows Prelow to go right down the middle of the field.
Well, this college football season, Fox Sports is proud to support Dream Foundation and making dreams come true for adults facing life-threatening illnesses. There's no greater time to help those in need. And when time is limited, text DREAM to 41518 to donate $10 and turn dreams into lasting memories. Well, I said the ballpark held 83,000, didn't I? Where's the fire marshal? 86,951.
Sixth largest crowd ever at Kyle Field here tonight, and they've been fantastic. The crowd noise has been a factor.
The concessions are getting killed, though. They never leave their seat. Bullock kicks it away. Thompson waits. And, well, after a moment of indecision, I think he should have stayed in the end zone. Been that kind of night for June Jones and SMU. They have been hurting themselves.
Derek Thompson, redshirt freshman, indecisiveness killed him on that play.
Let's head downstairs to Jim Knox. Jim.
Well, I tell you what, that Aggie physical style of play is really taking its toll on this SMU team. They're down on the bench. The head's a little down. And Blake Majunkin, you guys have been talking about him, 63. He was saying just about a minute ago on the sidelines, he's ready to get back in. They taped his ankle up. He's ready to play. He's got his helmet on. He may sneak on, guys.
Well, he doesn't look like that gait's real good right now. But it's not like he's got to run a lot of sprints. Instead, it's still going to be Tennyson. Well, the second team center. And the snap put down by McDermott. And he gets something out of it once again, going to Terrence Wilkerson.
That will drive you crazy as a coach. McDermott, that snap was right at his belt. It was a good snap. He just dropped it. His eyes were down the football field. He picks it up. At this point, you either burn it or find somebody open. He decides to go all the way down the field to the sidelines, find Wilkerson for an easy completion. All the way outside of the 20, gets himself out of the shadow of his own end zone.
So working against Dustin Harris, they get a first down. Final 3 minutes of the third. And he's on his way down. Coming up once again, and he has been a factor throughout this game. It is Eddie Brown Jr., a senior from Waller, Texas.
Good pass rusher, good motor there for Brown Jr.
1st and 10 line brought to you by Russell Athletic. He's been in the backfield a number of times today.
He sure has. And McDermott holding the ball too long. You can't allow Texas A&M to just cover you up that far. You got to run the football. You got to get the ball out of your hands. You're going to get sacked if you hold it too long in the pocket.
He looked like Jerome Brown on that play. Zach Line quiet ever since a very strong start.
How about this defense? They've completely, Joel, turned this around, stopping the run, tackling better. Exactly what Mike Sherman said coming off the field in the first half. They've come out and put that into action. The front seven for Texas A&M playing their best football so far of this game, wearing down SMU, and that's an experienced offensive line for SMU.
Mike was fired up when he talked to Jim Knox. He was not happy.
Yeah, even with the big lead, wanted them to tackle better, wanted them to play better fundamental defense, and they've done that so far in the second half.
So on the sack, it's a loss. Back to the 17, 3rd and long. And thrown behind Keenan Holman, who's got a touchdown catch tonight. So 1 first down and then a punt. So Zach Line had 85 yards in the first 15 minutes of play ever since. Just 29.
Yeah,
good adjustment.
Doing a great job on the run defense, and then McDermott unable to find Holman on the outside. And Texas A&M is speeding up the clock. They're changing the timing, changing the tempo for SMU. They're dictating the amount of pressure they can put on them.
They almost get to punter Matt Stone. Kendrick McNeil puts it on the ground. Recovering. And loses a couple in the process. But still, a huge cushion for Texas A&M with only a minute to play in the third. So they came in decisive favorites. Their first top 10 ranking and their highest ranking since the 1999 season or preseason poll. And the 4th year for Mike Sherman, where he says, everything changed last year down the stretch where they went into games feeling like they were going to win.
Well, and
the mentality completely turned around.
There was a mentality of attack. We will attack you with our offense. We will attack you with our defense. The defense is what ultimately started to turn the tide. And then Tannehill comes into the lineup, a game, Joel, that you and I did last year at Kansas. Inserted into the lineup, and they never looked back from that point on. He started the next game against Texas Tech, an Aggie record for passing yards in that game.
He was phenomenal against Kansas. Came off the bench in that game for Gerard Johnson. On the move here. And in tight space, great grab by Fuller. Back to Tannehill, though. The very first career start, he throws for 499 against Texas Tech. So he responded to the opportunity.
He did.
And started the last 6.
He did. And he replaced Gerard Johnson against Kansas. And then the next week against Texas Tech, Gerard Johnson was supposed to come into the game for Ryan Tannehill at some point. He was playing too well. Gerard Johnson never saw the field.
Christian Michael, not a bad adjustment behind the line. Pretty decent wheels as a backup tailback.
Really,
not bad.
Really good speed. The only way that works is if you've got the speed to make it work. Normally, this big of a cutback is going to get you in trouble, especially versus an athletic defense. But Michael, with that burst, coming back off the broken leg, is able to find the edge and get north and south and get some positive yards.
He's a junior from Beaumont, Texas. Gets 18 on that carry. and up the middle. But I like the deception still, the way Tannehill carries it out with Wachiku, just for down the road purposes.
Well, you know, you got to do that as a quarterback.
Right.
You talked about carrying out the fake. The backside lineman is never blocked. That's an unblocked man, and if the quarterback does not boot outside hard, then he's just going to go make the tackle. So Ryan Tannehill, part of the blocking process in the run game for Cyrus Gray.
Got to sell it, and the Aggies are in a big way now, dominating 43-14 through 3. You're watching Big 12 College Football Saturday, all presented by KFC. "23 unanswered points by the Aggies of Texas A&M as we get ready for the final 15 minutes of regulation, and nowhere else in college football where you see an entire stadium of 87,000 people lock arms, shoulders, and sway.
I mean, it feels like an earthquake up here in the booth. It really does. You need a little Dramamine.
It is such a great atmosphere. Christian Michael making a miss. Now, the first snap of the fourth on 2nd and short. So everything turned around for the Aggies when Tannehill took over last year. Remember when Ryan Tannehill got here, he was behind, first of all, Stephen McGee wasn't too shabby. Gerard Johnson, as Mike Sherman, we talked to him yesterday, Gerard Johnson was the preseason player of the year in the Big 12 to start last season.
He's the career passing yardage leader in the history of Texas A&M.
But Ryan Tannehill, who puts it on the ground and gets it back on first down. Ryan Tannehill let them know how he felt. He was disappointed, but he was going to wide receiver where he eventually became a starter.
Yeah, this is the last play. They're trying to pull the fake down, and Tannehill just leaves the ball out way too long. I love what he was trying to do, extending the football, tight elbows from a linebacker position. That'd be very difficult to tell whether that was a fake or an actual handoff. He just left it out a beat too long.
Loss of 4. And a false start coming up against A&M.
Ball start. Number 8 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second out.
There have not been many. Ryan Tannehill at the next level, 6'4", 225. Pretty decent gun. How would you look at him the next stage?
I think that the next level, the scouts are going to be wanting to see him really control the game from the pocket and not necessarily outside of the pocket. He's very good on his feet. They throw a lot of these quick screen passes, like you see this one to Wachiku on the outside. But to be able to sit in there with an NFL caliber receiver, with a Wes Welker type and Ryan Swope in the middle, and stand and control a game from the pocket late, especially, versus a very good defense, that's ultimately is what is going to put Ryan Tannehill up on the radar of all of those NFL teams. He's got the size, he's got the maturity, and he's got the skill. It's just a matter of putting that on tape so the guys can evaluate it from the NFL.
He will have a year and a half as a starter. Knock on wood, he stays healthy this entire season. Here comes the heat. He felt the pressure. And dropped by Michael, but there is going to be potentially a holding call. He looked over at 71. The offensive lineman for the Aggies. Will it be declined? That's the question for June Jones.
Holding. Number 71 on the offense. The penalties decline. 4th down.
It's a young offensive line.
That drive got sloppy.
Yeah,
it got sloppy, and that's frustrating from a coach's perspective. The offensive line got a little sloppy. Ball handling in the backfield with Ryan Tannehill and Christian Michael got sloppy. Had a false start from Jeff Fuller. You don't want guys to check out just because it's 43-14 in the 4th quarter of their first game. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're a top 10 team, but you never want to see the focus leave your club as a coach.
That relaxed mentality when you get a big lead. So there's 2 minutes gone in the 4th. But whatever Mike Sherman said at halftime, he made an impact. In the 3rd, they controlled both lines. Tannehill was 9 for 11. It was a clean 15 minutes of play.
Especially defensively. Controlling the line of scrimmage defensively, not allowing Zach Line to do much. In fact, he did not rush for a yard in that 3rd quarter.
Epperson into punt. This is only his 2nd punt of the game. It'll be the layup game by design.
Yeah, trying to get the extra 5 yards. They do have the wind at their back. I'm surprised actually in this type of a game, 43-14.
Delay the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That you wouldn't allow Randy Bullock, the senior kicker, to go out and try it, because you need to know later in the season, when it comes down to it, Joel, where is my get-to line at the end of half or the end of a game?
Good point, because at that line of scrimmage, originally before the 5-yard mark off, it would have been about a 53-yard punt. Good coverage. Maybe he just wanted to work on Epperson in the specials.
That's a terrific punt. I guess that's why you don't kick the field goal. You pin him down at the 1-yard line.
We'll be right back to College Station with 12:55 remaining. Aggies 43-14. A&M in control with 12:55 remaining. Time now for our Sprint Unlimited update. And plenty of opportunities capitalized on by Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill outside of the pocket delivers a strike early in the game, then throws back across his body to Ryan Swope for the first touchdown pass. This is when I really saw him get comfortable. You're going to see him start pumping his shoulders, drawing the defense away from his intended target. That was his last throw to Freelo, and that was just a dime. I mean, perfect pass. That's what I was talking about, Joel. Controlling the game from the pocket, looking off the safety, coming back, finding the tight end down the seam for a touchdown. Terrific play there from Ryan Tannehill today.
A&M ever since the opening 15 minutes of play, totally dominating as they were looking down for Cole Beasley, operating from their own 2-yard line. And now the disparity that we talked about. It was close to even, don't forget, at halftime. They took over in the third 15 minutes of play, and that's why I brought up Mike Sherman was hot when he went to the locker room. We saw that with Jim Knox.
And you'll start to hear coaches in locker rooms. Now, they won't say this in interviews, but they'll say things in the locker room like, fellas, we need to start imposing our will on this team. We're the Texas A&M Aggies. We got to impose our will, and this defense has done that to the Mustang offense in this second half.
McDermott in trouble, and underneath, resourceful on the short game to Terrence Wilkerson.
He touched on tackling as well, yes. Mike Sherman did, and they've tackled perfectly in the second half. No second chances for SMU. This is exactly what Mike Sherman wanted to see from his defense after he got back onto the field in the third quarter.
Texas A&M is not going to be playing next week, so week off and then back at home. We're here at Kyle Field. They've got the Idaho Vandals. So a week to look at film, break things down, and they're going to like what they saw on both sides in the third. Now on third down, underneath it works. And a nifty move by the wide receiver Darius Johnson. An extra 10 after the catch.
Tim DeRuyter, the defensive coordinator, in his second year from the Air Force Academy, tried to get a little bit cute here. Run of pressure, try to disguise coverage. You saw the linebackers chasing out after the wide receivers after faking like they were going to blitz. We've seen them have more success when they run base defense in this second half and then just corral, run to the football, and tackle well. Just straight out of that box and got burned on the last third down.
So SMU converts. Drive still alive at their own 23. Pick up the blitz. And a little turning. It's Beasley or Megan Wilkerson once again. So the yards after the catch. First Johnson, now Wilkerson. And a long gain that time of better than 20-25 yards.
McDermott did a nice job of staying in the pocket. A&M comes with the blitz. They're bringing the extra man out of the front seven. Man-to-man coverage on the outside, and Coriel Judy could not keep up with Terrence Wilkerson. McDermott delivered the strike. Imperative that you deliver that ball accurately with good ball placement. That allows for the yards after the catch, which we saw from Wilkerson on the last play to move the chains.
From their own 2, it's now at the SMU 46. And here comes the pressure again. Gerard Eddy has been a force since the first snap of the game. the senior from DeSoto. Honorable mention all Big 12 last year, and that is his second sack. He's also had a ton of quarterback hurries.
He absolutely has. Another pressure. A good inside move by Gerard Eddy, and McDermott holding on to the football every single time that we've seen SMU hold on to the football in the middle of the pocket. That pressure is getting home. Good coverage on the outside, understanding where the pressure is coming from, not allowing the quick throw from McDermott on the outside to his wide receivers.
First and 10 line brought to you by Russell Athletic. A loss close to 7. Little shovel pitch. Zach Line breaking out of an ankle tackle. Solid run across the midfield stripe to the 49.
Oh, I love Zach Line.
That makes two of us. I vote with you.
Just a rugged back.
Yes.
I mean, nothing pretty about it, but he does have good feet. Every time he gets the ball, the first guy can't bring him down. A&M has done a nice job corralling the run game in this second half, but Line, every single time he touches the ball, it's taking 2 or 3 Aggies to bring him down.
A Mike Allstott kind of guy, 6'1", 230, 35.
But niftier,
right.
Better feet.
Right.
Yeah, but exactly right.
That kind of size.
That size, power type of role.
3rd and 5. Here comes the heat again. Contact. The adjustment made in the route by Cole Beasley, but he still couldn't get to it. So 4th and 5 at the 49 for the Mustangs. You're wondering why McDermott's in there if you joined us late tonight. Kyle Padron, a record-setting Mustang quarterback who threw for about 4,000 last year, threw 2 picks to start the game and was gone.
McDermott has played well. He came in a couple of scoring drives right away. Padron hasn't seen the field since, but it's been all Aggie defense in the second half. I mean, they have picked it up and imposed their will on the Mustangs. And now another 4th down opportunity and an opportunity for the Aggies to get off the field.
Line out of the backfield. And on the crossing pattern, it's dropped off the fingertips of Keenan Holman. But they've had a number of them they didn't convert that were available. We'll come right back to Kyle Field. Aggies get it back close to the midfield stripe. Everything working their way on opening night of College Football Saturday. Aggies get it back with 9:16 to play. And don't forget, regular season all starts with the Fox NFL Sunday NFL doubleheader. It's Michael Vick and the Eagles. That starts it off against the improved Sam Bradford and the 4-0 preseason St. Louis Rams. And it's America's Game of the Week as the Giants take on the Redskins in D.C. Coverage all starts with the Built for Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. That's at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. So check your local listings for the games in your area. It all starts Thursday. I can't wait. Love it. Saturdays, Sundays, I don't discriminate. I like them both.
How about that Lions-Bucks game? Also on Fox. That's a great game. Good young quarterback.
Right, Josh Freeman, Matthew Stafford.
Defensive line for the Lions.
Adjusting. And a first down. Christian Michael before that had 8 for 54, so just about a 7-yard average. Well, it's better than that now after he gains about 11-12.
He'll get the bulk of the carries moving forward here with 9 minutes left because Cyrus Gray got his 100 yards, 132 yards. It's the most consecutive games, 100-plus yards in the FBS. That's his 8th consecutive. Boy, he's been tremendous, too. The patience that he runs with. And I've loved the 1-2 punch between Michael and Gray, but Gray clearly is going to be the workhorse.
Yeah,
he's going to be the guy. And you can tell by the way he runs, he's just more experienced. He's more patient. He waits and he's got that explosiveness. But Christian Michael, also a very good running back.
Gary takes it close to the first down. Michael inside the 31, and some have speculated if you're ever going to have 2 1,000-yard rushers, and A&M has never had 2 in a single season, then can you go 15 Tannehill on the keeper, going for the first down right at the first down marker? Can it be a healthy situation if each guy gets 15 to 20 carries a game? Because most say they need to touch it, get a rhythm, and stay on the field to be successful.
I'm a rhythm guy, if you ask me. When I was in the huddle, Joel, I'd like to see the same 10 guys in there. Clearly, you can have different wide receivers, but you get a flow, and clearly Cyrus Gray has a flow dating back to last year. He understands this offensive line, the communication.
Line.
You bet. You know, there's pass protection. There's all sorts of different things. And so I like that area. Plus, I don't know if they'll run the ball enough to get two 1,000-yard rushers.
It'll be a timeout. Taken by.
They still got to throw it to Fuller and Swope.
Two really good wide receivers. It's working for A&M on opening night. Welcome back on a warm, windy night in Texas. We're in College Station. 7.5 to play. Our Coors Light freeze cam takes us back to the sensational play in the first half of Ryan Swope.
How about his hands? That's the first thing that Mike Sherman said when we asked him about Ryan Swope. He said he's got great hands. Proves it on that play. Not a great throw, but Swope able to go down and get it.
72 catches last year. 72 for Jeff Fuller. New record here at A&M, breaking the old one set back in '85 by Rod Bernstein. So the Aggies have it on 4th and a yard. Penetration to the backfield, and it still works. They almost busted the play up before Tannehill ever got it off to Christine Michael.
That's why footwork is so important for a quarterback, even in the run game. Looks like Tannehill gets stepped on by his own offensive lineman coming out, and he trips, runs right into Christine Michael. Thankfully, Michael is explosive enough to find the hole anyways and continue to convert the first down.
Christine Michael is only a junior, just like Ryan Swope if you're looking down the road for Texas A&M. Fuller is a senior. So is Ryan Tannehill. And now on a first down, it's at the 28 of SMU. Trying to run the clock out. Inside of 7 to play. Michael again. Boy, it takes a lot. He gets about 5. Now Jeff Fuller, and we talked about Tannehill when he was a wide receiver at 6'4", 225. Jeff Fuller is over on the sideline as well, 6'4", 220 pounds. And when we had a chance to talk with Jeff yesterday, I asked him, who's your dad? And his dad was a great Aggie safety, a safety with the 49ers in the NFL. And I hoped when I said, who's your dad's favorite wide receiver?
You would think.
I would hope, hey, me.
Right.
I'm number 1.
Right.
Number 1 in my own house. He goes, Jerry Rice. It'll always be Jerry Rice. Christine Michael inside the 20, down to the 19.
Tough shoes to fill there.
Yeah, and Jeff Fuller is going to have a very productive after college experience in the NFL.
He's so athletic,
yes.
and coming from this style of offense, people don't talk enough about the offense that you come from. It's being more exploited now, obviously with the quarterback, the spread, but how about the physical nature of Fuller coming now from the West Coast, and Mike Sherman, who understands the NFL. This guy is going to be ready day 1 when he enters a training camp next year in the NFL.
Now on 3rd and short. Coming up short inside the 20. And also over the summer, and you saw Jeff Fuller over there, he said the dedication, because he got to work out with Larry Fitzgerald. He said what he was amazed by was the get up early, condition, work hard, and then you work even harder because you're going outside, you're running routes, working at drills. And he said the dedication and the commitment is what really surprised him.
This is a guy who, when he first got to Texas A&M, wasn't really impressing a lot of people.
Long field goal try, about a 37-yarder officially, and it's good for Randy Bullock. Well, they know he's good from 37 now.
There you go.
53 that didn't try. 4:52 to play. Aggies 46 to 14. This Sunday edition of Big 12 College Football Saturday is presented by KFC Popcorn Chicken. Today tastes so good. And brought to you in part by Russell Athletic, who reminds you that together we are. Last 4 minutes, 52 seconds in College Station's Kyle Field. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox down to the sideline. SMU ready to get it back. Derek Thompson standing back at the goal line. So Bullock with a 37-yard field goal before he broke away. They haven't needed him tonight. They've been finding the end zone. It'll be Thompson at the goal line, but they put him in the corner towards the boundary and cut him off at the pass. Won't get to the 20. He's at the 15 as we head back downstairs to Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, Joe, I'll tell you guys something. This offensive line of Texas A&M, unbelievable. They started the majority of them as a freshman. They bulked up, worked hard in the weight room. Now they're the heaviest offensive line in college football. Right now, 458 total yards for the Aggies. They've been opening holes for Michael and Gray all night, keeping Tannehill just about crystal clean. Great job on the offensive line. So good the backup quarterback will be coming in probably the next series.
If there is another series. Thank you, Jim. So the Mustangs back at their own 15. It'll still be J.J. McDermott. He's gone 90% of this game. Zach Lyon up the middle past the 20. So give them credit. They're still battling, and especially a guy that plays with a linebacker's mentality because he came there as a linebacker at SMU.
Yeah, over 100 yards for Zach Lyon. Their rushing numbers aren't going to reflect that, just because all the sacks. Padron -5 yards, McDermott -20 yards, but Zach Lyon 21 for 119 on the night. He's fought hard. He had about 95 in the first half, and this Aggie defense, boy, they bowed their neck. They played some defense against Zach Lyon and SMU in this second half.
They have shut them out completely. In fact, at one point it was 20-14. In and out of the hands, dropped again. Terrence Wilkerson can't hang on. He was available on a good throw by McDermott, but it was 20-14. The last 26 points, Texas A&M with the momentum had seriously shifted midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, right when McDermott came into the game, 2 quick drives down to score, made it 20-14. They had blocked the PAT. They had opportunities there to really tighten this thing up. But in the second half, it was the line of scrimmage that was the difference. Texas A&M was just better offensively and defensively with their lines.
They wore them down. Now on 3rd and 5 from the 20. One thing Johnson can do is make a move after a catch. You talked about his sprinting ability when he advanced to the state finals in high school. Missouri City, Texas junior Darius Johnson with the first down.
78 catches a year ago, 845 yards, and you hit on it. Quickness, anticipation. See how he catches the ball, and then he figures out where he's going to go rather than just running into a tackle, which you see a lot at the wide receiver position.
3.5 to play with the ball at the 27. McDermott brings it back down, and he should have gotten rid of it. There's a fumble. The battle, and did the Aggies get it? No, Brooks, the big lineman. The right tackle, J.T. Brooks, a senior from Dallas, comes up with it. So SMU, it's going to be interesting because they're home next week, their home opener for UTEP. And June Jones has a decision to make.
Well, this is still a good club. I mean,
without a doubt.
You can see those. Let's keep in mind, this A&M team, this is a top 10 team in the country. They're very balanced on offense. They're experienced on defense. 18 of 22 starters back as a whole as far as position players go.
But a decision for Kyle Patron and J.J. McDermott as they get ready for their home opener. 2nd and 12. Grab is made by Wilkerson. Short at that, though. So it's going to be 3rd, about 7-8 yards.
At Conference USA West, they've got some good clubs, and SMU is going to be right in that hunt. Houston, a big victory a day ago against UCLA, though. They looked very good with Case Keenum.
Case Keenum looked all the way back.
He looked all the way back.
30 of 40. I watched your game, 310, and made good decisions.
Very good decisions. Looked very good after that ACL.
Just a little more than 2 minutes to play. Underneath, good grab. Cole Beasley gets the first down out to the 39.
Yeah, he's clearly their most consistent guy on the outside. Goes up, great catch with his hands. They're going to run a stop route, what I would call an inside chair route. Just finds the seam, then he goes out. See how he reaches out and just grabs that ball with his hands. Terrific concentration there. That's why he caught for 1,000 yards a year ago.
Final 2 minutes. Mustangs won the West in Conference USA, as you mentioned last year, and then lost. It's a penalty flag on a shove. The shove on Wilkerson put him out of bounds as he tried to make the catch. Working against Everett.
Pass interference. Number 29 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
They lost a close game in the title game to Central Florida. Central Florida not only had a good year, they've got a really talented quarterback.
Really, and a young quarterback
Yes.
as well. We saw him last year at Kansas State. Godfrey, you're talking about. He played as a true freshman last year. Now a little bit of experience under his belt. You got Southern Miss, who's also a very good team. So 5 teams in Conference USA with a legitimate chance to win that conference, represent either the East or the West in that conference championship game.
Now on first down. Swings it out again to Johnson. He'll run out of bounds at about the 40.
As far as the Big 12 is concerned, A&M stating their case. This is a year in which the expectations, well, they haven't been higher since, let's say, 97 when they started ranked 7th in the country with R.C. Slocum.
Long time.
You can tell why. I mean, their athleticism on defense, they showed it in the second half. It was a little shaky early, but they bared down a little bit here in the second half.
2nd and 6. Zach Line. Got a holding call coming up. Inside the 35 down to the 34. It'll come back, though. SMU has a difficult proposition, though.
Holding. Number 64 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
They call it on Tennyson. And I bring up the difficult proposition because of the road dates they have this season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're besides A&M, they're on the road. They play TCU, Southern Miss, Tulsa, and also at Houston. And you just saw Houston, and they've got some nice skill players.
Yeah, Houston's still going to struggle on defense. You saw they gave up 550 yards to UCLA a day ago, but they're going to score points with anybody. I think SMU is going to have a chance there. They do have the tough teams in the conference on the road, which is going to be very difficult. They're going to have to play much better than they did tonight. Too many mistakes on the road here at Kyle Field.
Underneath, grab is made by Beasley.
And they'll have to figure out their quarterback position.
Right, but this is actually what they're doing with J.J. McDermott right now. This is great experience for him. The senior from Katy coming off the bench in relief of Kyle Padron. Had a frustrating start. 2 interceptions, 2 series, and the night was over for Kyle Padron.
They could never catch up. Then the onside kick after the first touchdown that went awry. They could just never. You can't beat the 9th-ranked team in the country in their house, one of the best environments in college football. In fact, rated the best by Sports Illustrated in the entire country. You're not going to beat them with those mistakes. SMU was going to have to play near a perfect game. That went out the window early. They fought, they battled. Zach Line did a great job running the football in the first half, but just too much athleticism, too much Texas A&M. This is a quality team that's going to be in the hunt for the Big 12 title.
Bad snap blown away. McDermott can't get it. His lineman will come up with it, though. It's grabbed by Laribas. And that will most likely do it. Nope, SMU is going to call a timeout with 19 seconds left.
Remember, with a young quarterback, every rep helps.
That's
and
right.
June Jones did not want to end this game on a fumbled snap.
And that's why I mentioned to you, this is great for McDermott's experience just to get all these snaps in.
It sure is. Getting transferred from New Mexico State.
First 2 years there.
Yep, sat out the 09 season, of course, to transfer rules. Only 2 of 4 a year ago for 33 yards. He is a senior. He's been around. I mean, you can tell he's got a little moxie. He's not a freshman in there. He was manipulating the pocket. He was sliding around, threw some nice footballs down the field. Going to have to work on some things. You could tell his heart rate went up on a couple series. Took some sacks he shouldn't have. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good performance for a backup quarterback. You don't think you're going to play. Kyle Padron set records last year at SMU. And he comes in after the second series in this environment. I thought he played pretty well. Padron's got to be frustrated.
Yeah, McDermott, a pretty tough kid from East Texas. And a big kid at 6'4", 235, 240. So he's got size like Tannehill.
I was just so impressed with the defensive line's performance from Texas A&M in the second half.
They look like a different team.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
Trips on the wide side up top. Here comes the heat, and there goes McDermott. Yeah, they celebrate in Aggieland. Kirby Ennis on the stop. The sophomore gets the sack. That is 7 sacks for the contest for a group that had 36, but Von Miller had a lot to do with that.
A lot to do with that. He was the Buckus Award winner a year ago, obviously second pick in the NFL draft. SMU is going to call another timeout here, try to get another snap. But I just love the motor. Every Aggie was attacking. You know, it wasn't just one guy flushing him out and then McDermott has a lane to run. Every Aggie doing their job. That's defense right there. Tim DeRuyter's got to be happy with that. This team learned how to win with defense a year ago. You remember the low-scoring affair right here in Kyle Field against Nebraska. Last year, this Texas A&M team was the first team in Big 12 history to beat Oklahoma, Texas, and Nebraska all in the same season.
They really laid only one egg all year, 30-9 to Missouri.
To Missouri here at home.
Right.
After that, they played much better.
Right. That was the only one that was a real lemon.
You remember the turnovers were an issue early last year, and they did avert some issues with fumbles in the second half. 4 fumbles on the ground. They recovered them all in the second half. So,
well, that's why Gerard Johnson lost his job.
Exactly.
There were 5 turnovers in that game against Missouri. Zach Line across the midfield stripe, and that'll do it. Or will they use their final timeout? Yes, SMU. They're not happy here at Kyle Field. They want to celebrate, and there's a delay.
June's an offensive guy.
Right. I want as much as I can get on tape.
That's right.
And I think Mike Sherman can relate to it. I don't think there's any question. And by the way, this is not all bad for Tim DeRuyter, because most of the guys out there right now for Texas A&M are second-team guys that are getting valuable experience.
That's right. But that first team, my goodness, this first-team defense in the second half came out ready to play. Zach Line beat him up in the first half, almost 100 yards in the first half just for Zach Line. They needed to tackle better. That's what Mike Sherman told us going in at halftime, and they did just that. Physical defense, putting McDermott on the ground, getting to the quarterback. If he was holding the football too long in the pocket, they were getting home. Extraordinary performance in the second half from the Aggie D.
This should be the final snap of the game. The tip drill, and it's tipped right to the ground. And that will do it. A successful beginning on their home field for the Aggies of Texas A&M as they totally dominated the second 30 minutes of play over June Jones with the Mustangs of SMU.
Mike Sherman's got to be happy with the fact that his team responded. Clearly, that was not a positive halftime for Texas A&M. Even though they had a lead, that was not a positive halftime. His team came out, they responded. He's got to be happy with his 9th-ranked team. June Jones, on the other hand, he's got a quarterback situation on his hands going back to Dallas.
Yeah, there's question marks. Is it going to be McDermott, who responded pretty well for him? Kyle Patron, will he get the start once again? Right now, we go downstairs to Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Joe. Coach, I talked to you at halftime. We're not pleased on how you guys were trying to stop the run against SMU. Line almost had close to 100 yards. Whatever you said at half, you made the adjustment. Second half, SMU minus 25 yards rushing.
Well, I was pleased. We went at halftime. I wasn't very happy with the way we were playing. I was happy with the turnovers, but we were not stopping the run very well. But we went in at halftime, challenged them, and they came out and responded.
Offensively, you guys, the offensive line, we really wore down SMU. Total of 458 yards. You spread it up just about evenly, passing and running.
Well, we like to have balance in the offense as best we can, but our offensive line still has a long way to go. There's still a bunch of young pups. We'll keep working with them, but we have 2 good backs that really help them as they mature.
All right, congratulations. The victory right now puts you over 500 in Aggieland. Congratulations, Coach Sherman. Joel?
All right, thank you, Jim. Well, Tannehill, 21 of 26, 246. He was talking about the balance, great rushing game, and from both Christian Michael and Cyrus Gray. So the balance was there, and a complete effort in the second half that included the defense pitching a shutout. Next week on College Football Saturday on FSN, Iowa State, then Virginia Tech, East Carolina, FX, it's Nevada and Oregon, and finally back on FSN, SMU taking on UTEP. For Joel Klatt, Jim Knox, our entire College Football Saturday crew, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us so long, College Station, Texas.